Tu vida es buena, pero ¿con quién la vas a pasar? Prefiero 3 que sean 10 y van a traicionar. Un punto malo es que no tengo nadie para hablar. Cambiando el juego desde que tengo memoria. Si no la saco es porque estoy fuera de mi lugar. Y como estoy adelantado quieren anular. A veces velo, ya no tengo remedio. Ya son las 2 AM, estoy volando por mis cielos. Fumando esa pluma que me pone un poco ciego. Escribiendo canciones y buscando otro beat nuevo. Dejando todo de lado estoy pasado. Ya no tengo tiempo para perder con estos malos. Esos que hablan mucho que son un poco anticuados. Hago lo que quiero, como quiero y sin regalos. Somos los que estamos y no va a cambiar. Y cuando me tengan que buscar a mí, sé que con ellos siempre voy a contar. No nos falta subir nada ni presumir. Y ya no le tengo miedo a nadie más. Ando con muy pocos, son de buen hablar. Quitamos lo malo, todo va a pasar. Viendo 2 veces por donde hay que pisar. Aprendimos de las situaciones del ayer. Esas que no salen si no lo intentas. Gracias a la vida porque estamos blessed. Y porque mi suerte no para de crecer. Si reparto tanta experiencia no vas a aprender. Pasando noches como días.
Of 27, that's a lot of zeros, $1 million up for grabs for the 24 most successful clubs, with the champions getting $7 million. Now though, we gotta head into some big figures as well. It's been a record-breaking year and a half for MLBB Esports. It was a record-breaking day 1 as well. Thanks to you, we got to reach over 1 million views just in our very first day of MSC here at the Esports World Cup. Now, though, it's time to celebrate. So please vote for us, esportsawards.com/vote. There are 3 categories for MLBB. You got the Tournament of the Year, Game of the Decade, and Game Publisher of the Decade as well. So thank you so much for all of your support. We literally wouldn't be here without you. Yeah, I don't know where I'd be.
Yeah, I don't know where any of us would be without you guys. Hey, if we're able to beat 1 million PCU yesterday, how about today? Support your favorite teams, and even if they're not from your own local region, definitely make it a little spicy in the comments. We want to hear you guys.
For sure.
Yeah. I think it's time to remind our viewers, though, of the bracket that we find ourselves in, because interestingly enough, for some reason, we still are getting a lot of questions in the comment section. So let's take this time to remind you of what to expect for our group stages, how the format works, so that everything is clear. We have 2 groups. We're going to focus on group stage. Wildcard is already finished. So we have 2 groups of 8 teams with 16 teams, double elimination, and the top 4 per group advance to playoffs. Maybe you'd want to talk a little bit more about playoffs, Mirko?
Yeah, playoffs is going to be brutal as always. It's the classic MSC format ever since 2023 that we've been seeing. Single eliminations. Yeah, it's really brutal. And with this format, it's actually interesting to see that the most dominant region, Philippines, has not been able to really get success with this format, right?
Yep.
MSC 2023, 2024 last year as well. They got to the finals last year, but it was both years.
Yeah. We've gotten to break that curse through other tournaments, but hopefully
MSC.
Here at MSC, in the Moonton Cannon events, that we'll be able to do that as well. Again, $1 million is the first place prize. There's a lot of shared prize pool between the wildcard teams from 18th to 23rd, 5th to 16th here, past the wildcards in groups, knockouts in this main stage. But you know what? I feel like if I was in a team, I'd be sad if I get second. But then if I'm reminded as to how much money I'm actually winning at second place, I think I'd be okay.
Oh yeah, because I think most people are like, yes, you may not be a world champion in Group A. It has a bunch of champions, and Group B is just playing, their story arc mode and campaign. But generally, that prize pool is life-changing money. If you win MSC at least 1 time, you've basically out-earned the majority of these organizations combined through their own local MPLs and even their world championships.
Dude, you saw SRG went from being, at least in the leaderboards of most earned, right? Most earnings when it comes to prize pools. They were nowhere in the top 10. After MSC, boom, they were all in the top 5. I'm just like, what the heck?
Yeah, one sudden launch up. Now, we have to look at Group B because that's going to be the group getting focused on today. Not as many champions from the previous MPL or qualifying regions. However, there are still a fair share as well. As champions from MCC in Team Spirit, MTC in Aurora Gaming, the China qualifier, it's Dianfeng Yaoguai, and yeah, the SGS9 champion in Team Flash. You're going to be seeing all of them match up today. I know you're already going to be looking forward for the Homeboys Flash SG matchup as Malaysia versus Singapore, but what's your matchup that you're looking out for, Mirko?
TS versus DFYG.
Oh,
I'm a big fan of TS, massive fan of DFYG, and I really want to see another new region here pop off in MSC. We've been seeing back-to-back like non-Filipino region. I'm sorry, Renmar.
It's all good.
We've been winning a bit too much. Indonesia, MSC 2023. Malaysia winning their first major international. I would love to see China or ECA get their hands on. Get their job done.
Yeah, and it's going to be a revenge match later on in the day for the final matchup between Team Spirit and Dianfeng Yaoguai as they met up in the Super Cup earlier this year, which delivered a very prolific win.
DFYG do not want to remember it.
Yeah, they don't want to remember it or carry it on their shoulders to see if they could win. But that's the final matchup of the day. And if you want to join us for MSC, if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, the tickets are still available. Just look for them on webook.com. And remember, we are here in Riyadh all the way until August 2nd, the very final day of the knockout stages. You won't be able to watch the group stage though, because you're in a separate arena. But once we get to the knockouts, once we're in the big arena, then yeah, you could join us there, or just drop by the Boulevard and say hi to us. I guess I think we'll be very much okay with that. Now let's talk about the Saudi National Bank match of the day. We've had our own opinions of what it is, but our match of the day is Onyx PH versus Aurora Gaming from Turkey.
Oh man, I wasn't expecting this. You know, maybe personal bias here, but honestly, Onyx PH versus Aurora Gaming, this is going to be interesting because every single time we've seen Aurora Gaming, we're like, yeah, these are the dark horses. They're going to be smashing so many teams, but then they always get paired up with some of the top seeds right at the very start. And based on what we've seen in history, every single time they start with a top team at the very beginning, it's just a long struggle through the lower brackets.
It really depends, right? Because their first ever, their debut in the international stage in M4 Incendio Supremacy, they were able to beat Blacklist International, the top dog at the time, made it to the grand finals too. And yeah, it's unfortunate for Aurora. The narrative right now is you're only as good as your previous tournament result. And they were grouped in the Swiss stage of M6, so they're going up against the world champions here in Onyx Philippines. It is a tough matchup, but with the meta shaping up to be as it is right now, I think Aurora have a pretty good shot.
Yeah, and considering the fact that their coaching staff is made up of 2 coaches from the Aurora Philippines squad,
MTB.
Meaning that they have 2 members of their team very, very familiar with how Onyx operate in the draft and how they operate in game. So it is an interesting matchup to watch out for, and I'm excited to see it as our match of the day later on. So at the very top of the show, we discussed a little bit about the drafts, and I think if we bring our viewers back to what happened in patch 1.9.90, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
We can have a more in-depth discussion as to why we see the patch operate the way it does now.
Yeah, I mean, again, big buffs to the EXP lane, significant changes. Arla and as well as Lapu Lapu plus Esmeralda has been the new additions. I wasn't expecting Esmeralda to be as good as she is in the current metagame. I would love to see a little bit more Yuzong, but I think a lot of it just comes down to siege minions and then the faster crab respawn time, giving you more incentive, or 15 seconds more incentive to fight back against your opponents in lane.
Yeah, it's unfortunate we don't get to see Yuzong, but I think the big problem with Yuzong currently is the Petrify, dude. Like when you get tough boots, usually you go Furious that Petrify and it's an auto combo. You land that. With the Tenacity boots right now, it's just hard to get it. Even with the Petrify, you don't get the second part of the Furious Dive. But I think the biggest change in this patch is actually what was not highlighted there. I think the movement around the river has changed a lot in terms of the team dynamics and how many more team fights we're getting early on, plus the delayed jungle spawn, jungle creep spawn.
As much as I love to talk about the patch and keep going for another few minutes, we have more chance later on, especially in the drafts and especially in game, to discuss what's happening in the meta and how it has affected the play. Now it's time to look at it from the tournament perspective, and let's look at our Aramco power ranking. So heading into day number 1, we got to rank our teams personally, and I think it still remains the same. We are now looking at, oh no, this is the same graphic from yesterday. So we're seeing a good amount of Group B teams actually in the Dark Horse Fighters column.
Yes, I think this is where it gets a little hard to kind of predict how Group E is going to go. I think everybody has like a rough idea of how Group A should quote unquote, should shape up unless you know some of the bigger teams drop a couple of games here and there and dip down. But Group B is where a lot of the storylines are going to be built off from the MSC. It's a strong foundation, especially for regions outside of what we know in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, I think Group B is filled with... I remember we discussed this yesterday. Group A, it's like a story that tells itself. Group B is... A lot of them have a lot of stories that go back years back. Tournament results. We see good amounts of that in Group A as well. But there's something about Group B that I look at. It's like, if there is going to be a team that you don't expect to make it into the finals, they might be coming from Group B, like with the roster that they have there, the stories that they have. So let's see if Group B will be the group that delivers surprises. And no, I did not get shocked just now. With hopefully you got to hear the battle cries, because if you didn't, then I'm just the dude who got surprised out of nowhere. So let's start talking about the two teams that are going to be fighting out for our very first series of the day. It's Homeboys from Malaysia, Team Flash from Singapore. You're the Malaysian of the table here, Gideon. So what can we expect from Homeboys?
Look, Homeboys have had a completely new revamp of its roster. From what we used to know, the Flame Boys being really spicy, being in your face with an aggressive play style. Now they've kind of humbled down with a completely new roster built from the ground up.
I'm not Singaporean, but I'll take this one. Flash SG. It's weird because you would expect this to be an upgrade on paper. Zace, a world champion coach coming in to coach an all-star SG lineup, but unfortunately this was literally their shakiest performance to making it to an international yet. Yes, they've had some changes in the XP lane, and I think that could have been what contributed much towards that shaky performance in Ken, because he is still inexperienced. He's still new compared to Diablo.
これフラッシュがやってるやつは日本でやればいいのにな。こうフラッシュのチームはシンガポール最強のメンツなんだよね。それを一つのチームに集まった感じなんだ。
Amal as their jungler, Izanami. I didn't expect him to change it. ML QT. This roster is looking to try and shake things up, especially for the Malaysian representatives. These guys have definitely been making it far within their own groups, if not getting knocked out super early in internationals. This is where it all changes.
Yeah, remember last year it was Homeboys who was taken down by Team Flash at the top 8 portion of our knockout stage. They moved on forward and gave Singapore its highest placing in an international tournament in such a long time. They declared themselves as one of the top 4 teams in the world at MSC last year. This Homeboy squad, let's see if they can act some vengeance for what happened to their previous counterparts in last year's MSC.
I think for the Homeboys at the very least, we're looking at that mid trio to work well. Amal, Izanami, and as well as Ivan. Their side laners are pretty stable overall, but they're not exactly the most lane dominant. I mean, sometimes it is, and when you see that lane dominance, that's when things start to shake up and you can see the teams have way more options in playing the map.
Yeah, so it's really more of team fighting for the side laners too. They just really, they want to shove in the lanes and go and rotate. And hey, this is what the patch is about. You just go, pick up ready to fight gold laners and fight for Turtle 1, where you can look for the snowball. And Homeboys have been doing a whole lot of that even before the patch.
Yeah, let's see what Team Flash will bring to the table. It's a roster that you're very familiar with. Mirko touched on it earlier. The only difference is their EXP laner Ken, but you have the returning, we call him the Emperor Akihiro-san, JPL in the roam for Flash, who is now in his, sixth MSC appearance?
Yes, he has not missed an MSC just yet. JPL as a veteran, the Shogun, some may call him, our Emperor Akihiro-san is looking to guide this squad to their victories. But that's not the only people that we should worry about. Curtizi in particular. Last time, what shocked the world was with some of his stranger mid picks, right? We saw Martis in the mid facing off against Aloy certain times. 2v1ing teams who weren't expecting these options. And now, with Vanix kind of becoming his own man throughout the past year, they need to make sure that at least Hades has some support because he's always this big player, but he needs that little bit of oomph to get him over the edge.
Yeah, but Mirko, they have an Indonesian coach in their squad now, Coach Zace. What can you fill in our viewers in about that?
Technically, he's Singaporean, but he did win with Indonesia with Evo. So yeah, Zace, he's always been a controversial figure. I'm gonna be honest with you, especially in the just recent years, recent times. He's always had his own idea in his game, and he's very strict. He's very strict. He's very military style when it comes to coaching a team, and I think that's why Flash were kind of culture shocked by that. They weren't ready for that. All this time, I think Flash, with their all-star players, have had kind of more of a relaxing time with their coaching staff. They would just be chilling, you know, having conversations. Meanwhile, Zace comes here and says, "I know you better than yourself," or "You pick my hero right now," which can be good in this meta. We know how massive the prio picks can be here, and that's what I'm expecting from Zace. I'm hoping that the meta sticks together here for him. Just
Yeah,面白い。
you get to see the crazy stuff like the Martis mid,
始まらないかな。
etc.
You would imagine that because Singaporeans now have mandatory national service, that Zays would kind of fit in nicely.
Yeah. Well, they were able to win a championship in Singapore, a 4-peat for Team Flash. But of course, as we all know, esports players go through a lot. They sacrifice a lot. Well, I think this one is a story worth hearing, so listen in on this.
This is NIP Flash! Diablo! What a set! What a petrify!
I'm confident in my team, so here we are.
It's quite a long story. So
Diablo mo orang
basically, before the start of MPL, some unfortunate things happened to my mom, so she passed on. Despite that, I did still try to perform for MPL stage, but I feel maybe my performance wasn't as good.
You got Fernandez with the triple, another maniac! What? As they wipe out Flash SG! As well, there's gonna be a brawl right now. Still, it is gonna be Curtizy backing away.
これはシンガポールのか。
As Flash SG goes up to the grand finals in a beautiful head and shoulders wipeout.
With the addition of Ken in the roster, I think that's why they decided to use Ken instead, and they had better results with him. Afterwards, I was like a sub. Then we were having a 2-2 scrims basically to determine who will be the playoffs.
変な英語わかんねえ。
I felt that I wasn't able to keep up with the team, so my performance wasn't as good. I think therefore they chose Ken, and I accepted it. I didn't want to pull the team down also. Therefore, I didn't play in the playoffs.
何
I
もう
probably
おらんってこ
won't
と
be the starter because
ディアブロ
the
もうおらんっ
team
てこと
spent a lot of time training with him, so probably
あ、
won't
おる
be
やん。
Ken. Yeah.
これシンガポール
We
最
got
強メン
a
ツや。
chance to talk to Diablo earlier today. It seems like he's in
面白そう。
good spirits to help support the team in what way he can, and no pun intended there, in what way he can. But it seems like he's very happy to be here as well. Team brought him out, and we might not see Diablo play, but know that he'll be backstage really supporting Team Flash. In just a moment, we are now going to be seeing the draft.
あ、ディアブロもおらんか。
Juicy picks that we can expect. Can we actually expect, with what you mentioned about Coach Zace and his style of coaching, for Team Flash to bring out one of their signature, what the heck is going on, how is this working picks?
I'm expecting more orthodox picks here, especially in the group stages for Zace. Knowing him and his patterns before as well in the regular season, he likes to play it a bit safer up against the bigger teams when there's a lot more risk. But yes, later on, when we get to see a more lopsided matchup, if you think so, we'll see more of those crazy cheese picks from Flash.
I don't know, is it hoping too much for me? I kind of want it right now. I mean, that makes so much sense. Like,
You
what
can
you said.
literally yell it out to him right now. Zace.
やっぱりランス版ですね。
Guys, come on! Guys, come on, please! No, I totally agree with the Miracle here. I think that if there is any time that Zays will be a little softer on the team in terms of what options that they're going to go for, probably it will come if they win this matchup and still are in the upper bracket. That very first game is where they're going to do it. Because right now, being able to keep those two lives for as long as possible is always going to be a high priority for a majority of these teams. Going down to the lower bracket is actually kind of dangerous, knowing the potential teams that could fall down. But let's jump into the draft, right? Team Flash SG on blue side facing off against the Homeboys on red side. The priorities are looking a little similar from what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, but it's a bit odd knowing Hades and, you know, how he really likes to get his hands on assassins. You wouldn't really expect these kind of bans. Harith gets taken out, so that means that maybe Flash SG are still trying to plan out for an assassin like a Joy. But I think the big picture should just be a Baksha that we have been seeing a whole lot of prio from the first two matches that they won, but then completely forgot about it in the last two matches that they won.
Look, I don't want to get into that, man. Like that's where it got really. I'm not gonna lie, I got really salty about it. The diversity of damage was like such a problem sometimes that you're forced to put Kimmy into an awkward spot, and then Baksha could have just completely countered it, but nobody wanted it.
Oh, there we go. But it got taken out. And
ハリスバンしてるから、
wait,
ジョイかな
opens up a Uranus rush for Flash SG. Box
こっち
is
で
one of the main answers
選
to
ぶ
that, and they could go ahead and prioritize it.
ね
By the way,
幅
yes,
1 2
JPL,
3
it's his
3 4
5 prior MSC appearances. He has scored 337 assists, the highest among all
Wow.
players in the
琥
tournament
珀
series history. It's not a Uranus first pick, it's a
やっぱ
1-1
琥珀強いね
Yeah, and this is a very, very risky pick. Again, yes,
琥珀がいつもファーストピックされるけどなんでバンしないかっていうと
This was the first pick for CFU
アーリーが
against
弱い
Onyx ID,
あと
and it
止めれ
worked
る
out
って
for
いう
them
感じなんです
mainly
ね
because I think Onyx ID
止めれ
just
ないキャラでは
completely
ない
disrespected it, did not pick any of the counters, which are open, up for grabs for homeboys. They could just pick up a Farsa and then build off of that.
Yeah, we'll see how this is going to go, right? Because again, Flash SG wants to kind of skewer and kind of influence the draft with his first pick. They could have gone for Kimmy, they could have gone with Farsa, they could have gone for the Uranus, but now
Jusin.
で
the
ファーサー
homeboys going for the
Ooh.
Irithel into the
カウンターで行ったんだね
I'm down for it, right? Because it still tells Flash SG, we know that you don't scale as well, so you're forced to be looking for the scaling style of heroes, especially in the mid lane.
Yeah, first two picks really good. You already have the lane response of the 1-1, and then in the overall team fighting picture, the
明治のこれ
Arlot
ジョイ
should
かな
provide enough disruption to what is expected to be
ハリスバンしてるからおそらく
play around the tanky fighter jungler lineup for Flash
ジョ
SG.
イジャングル
What's scary to me right now is the fact that homeboys are kind of setting up for a Fredrin in the jungle with the Arlot pick, right?
Yeah.
If not Fredrin, maybe we'll see something like an Akai, and both those picks are pretty good for the
Also
1-1
already
pickup. So Flash SG could try to build more for the mid prio now. They go for the Jusin and the
So
Kalea.
simple.
That should guarantee mid prio.
促進カレア
And in a way, it is not really the best combo. You don't usually want to pair up Kalea with Jusin, but
Yeah.
I understand it here. Kalea,
Kalea
you lock people down so the
Soxin.
1-1 gets a free
あんま合わ
crossbow
ないんだ
attack.
よ
And
な
now it puts even more pressure from homeboys, for homeboys, as they will have to decide whether to go for the utility jungle in Fredrin that is very unsafe, or keep it steady and just go for a flex pick again to get into second phase.
I mean, they can also lock in the Kimmy almost straight away as well, knowing what their R4 could potentially be in, but then that opens up a lot of options for Flash SG to look for these big punishes in that second phase. So far, I think that Flash SG has a really good option. Homeboys now leading into their frontline tank.
Yeah.
This is perfect, right? This is planned from the get-go with the 1-1.
ああすごいねこれがバンハリスバンしてるってことはジョイ行くという形でそれを読んで先にフレドリンを選ぶっていう感じなんだよね行く面白いねでフレドリンはジョイに勝てるから
Interesting. So they're expecting the Kalea to go XP. I think that's something we actually haven't seen since the change of the range of skill 2 from Kalea. But okay, it's a take from them. They want to ban it out. Maybe, again, understanding that Arlot and Fredrin is super vulnerable to those big CC abilities. But for me right now, I think homeboys, they're drafting for a very normal, like, previous meta draft too, right? They want to probably go Farsa or Kimmy. That was going to get taken out instantly. That's why I thought maybe the Farsa should have come first.
That's what I was thinking too. I was hoping that maybe they get their mage a little bit earlier. They could have saved the Irithel. Irithel, if not, play in Moskov later down the line, knowing that Flash SG actually likes to play the Assassins. We finally get to see the Uranus ban out on the side of the homeboys. And if Flash SG is going to do Flash SG things, I would expect that this is going to be a Kimmy ban.
ハリスバンでジョイピックしたいを読めるのはなぜですかこれね最初の3つのピックあるじゃないですかこの3つのピックは基本的に相手が選ぶキャラだから例えばこの選手たちはどんだけ上手いキャラとかまあ言うたらコンフォートピックとかあと自分のキャラクターの組み合わせでちょっと苦手これだったらまあ琥珀とか難しそうだしでもこういうハリス版って今はハリスってそんなぶっ壊れてるキャラじゃないですよね。で、ハリスバンされると、まあ一応ジョイが結構難しいんですよ、ハリスを使うものは。だからおそらくこっちでジョイ行ってこっちでハリスとか使っとったらもう琥珀まあこっちは琥珀選びたいから琥珀にも勝てるしあと止めれるやつがいなくなるわけなんですよだからそれをおそらくだと思うんですけどね、まあ、向こうの考え方もあるんですけどこれをバンしたいそれをこの人たちはジョイ選ぶんだろうなという感じで先にフレドリンを選んだんですよねフレドリンはジョイを止めれるっていう感じまあ言うたらチェスなんですよね 100% ってわけじゃないんですけどそれに近くなるって感じなんですよ
We'll see how Flash SG looks to round out their
先読みって感じなんですよね。あとやられないために。
Might as well get the Phobius on your side. You have plenty of dashes to work with on the enemy side to buy that extra bit of time. Ooh, Akai Esme.
Yeah, Akai
Not
the
bad.
Joe.
Esme EXP
Yeah,
の
and I think that was the trade that Flash was already thinking.
まあそうだね
I feel like they expected the Fredrin to go to the side of Homeboys, and then
これは
with
ちょ
all
っと
the
予想外だ
shields
ね
now the side of Homeboys, especially if they pick up a
でも
Zephyr, then the Esmeralda would be very happy.
アーリーで火力もあるし
Quite fond of the Flash SG draft, but
オブジェでフレデリンを止めれるし
Well, I think that right now it
強いのは
almost
強いんですけ
guarantees
ど
that
ね
Cortese kind of needs to build into the Sky Piercer because there's a lack of damage from Team Flash. I'm not gonna lie, right? We have the traditional matchups of the
あ
Akai
と
into
フラッ
the
シュ
Fredrin.
こ
We
の
know
こ
how
の
that's
チームの
gonna work
ね
in neutral fights, which means that Homeboys
この
actually
チーム
has to
の
play
ミドの
around that.
人
How they're going to do it, I'm not too sure because in terms
こ
of
の
like
ミド
raw
の人は
wave
ねちょっと
pushing,
読みにくい
Irithel needs at least that
この人
buff.
去年なんかマーティスとか出してますからね
Really, really fast and then
ミドで
participate in fights. And even so, you would rather have 3 items before you get into these battles in the first place.
Okay, Homeboy. Oh, they go Valentina.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. They can get the heavy spin too, and now it makes it pretty difficult. We
Yeah.
thought that maybe with the Kai, Turtle 1 guarantee, but the
Yeah,
Valentina changes
Valentina.
everything.
all right. You two can expound on this a little bit more once we head into the game. But real quick, Mirko, who has an easier lineup to pull off?
Flash.
What about you, Gideon?
I'm gonna say, yeah, Team Flash is a much easier lineup to pull.
こっちが
My
有利
main
だね
issue is that early game, right?
フラッ
That
シュは
mid
ちょっと有
from
利かな
Cortese and JPL is gonna be quite devastating. I want to see
ビ
how
ッグ
Homeboys
的
kind of
に
neuters
で
them,
言
slows
った
them
ら
down.
All right, let's head into this Singapore versus Malaysia matchup. It's Flash against
アーロ
Homeboys.
とは
Thank you,
アー
Remar.
リオと
All
し
right,
て
Flash SG
フレデリン
versus
は
Homeboys from
10
Malaysia.
分から
The
でしょ
battle of the
で
causeway.
キロある
Years in
レベル
the
4から
making,
パ
a
ンダも
rematch
求め
that
れ
we've
る
been
し
waiting for a
まあこい
very
つ
long
アーリー
time.
で
Luckily,
でこ
nobody
れが
is up
レ
for
ベル8から
eliminations. Mirko, it's gonna be you and me as we start making our way into the land of Dawn.
フラッシュの方は強いね
Because even for me,
ありがとう
I'm
ございます
looking at
楽
the
しみで
lineup,
す
I'm worried for
こ
both
ちらこ
sides
そ
because
楽
a
しみです
single mistake could
結構
snowball
面白い
out
ん
of
ですよ
control here for the mid-season cup 2025 here at the Esports World Cup.
Hey, a lot of questions, and
いきな
we
り
get
ポー
to
ズ
answer those questions here. We get to elaborate on our previous answers, and I think I might have to backtrack on what I said earlier. Flash having the easier comp. I forgot again of the combo with the Valentina taking the heavy spin to give the constant resets on Vengeance, right?
It's Beyblade X, baby!
Oh my lord, it's not just going to be the Fredrin. It's also the Akai that's going to literally let it rip on the hands of Alan.
Yeah, I think that's why when I'm talking about like the later
これ
stages
バレンティーナ
of the
結構
game,
面白い
this
んだね
Irithel is going to have quite a fun time, right?
yeah.
Being able to kind of run through everybody, especially when all the resources are down. It's really going to be a battle of management overall. How do we control the map while minimizing the amount of gold given to our opponents? Because if we're talking about like early invades as well, I would say that the early invades are pretty low. We walk into the top side of the map since we already have an advantage there. We might as well just plow through and deny level 4 from Fredrin.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it right now, and yeah, I think even in the individual lanes, it's just difficult for Flash SG to keep up with what Homeboys have already drafted. The Irithel matchup is ridiculous for the 1-1. Like, you don't win those. Maybe level 1 with the Inspire, but that's about it.
I don't think taking Inspire. I mean, Kalia's on the other side, so we didn't get to see battle spells just yet.
1-1 Inspire.
1-1 took
1-1.
Inspire. Okay, that's fair enough. But even so, right, that's again a mistake that most gold laners tend to make, right? They walk up instantly, try to go for that level 1 initiate. If that Inspire doesn't get mega value, or at least get, sorry, not revitalize, rejuvenate out of their laner, then, okay, you gotta play a little safer. You don't want to trade as often.
I think that's why they covered their weaknesses in the gold lane by picking up a crazy mid duo with Prior-wise, right? Like the Jusin and the Kalia should be able to clear faster than what Homeboys have already picked up for themselves in the Mathilda and the Valentina.
For sure, with Concussive Blast, assuming.
With Concussive Blast, and then they'll just rotate into the bottom lane, give the 1-1 a bit more space. Then, as expected, I think both these teams will be sending their gold laners into the fight, which should be the big gamble. That's what we're going to be pointing our
これ
fingers
は
at, guys. And
確かに
you guys
去年
watch
戦
Turtle
ってま
1.
す
Big
ね
contestation
フラッシュ
point,
とホーム
especially
ボーイズ
considering now we have two heavy spins, a
ベスト
Fredrin,
8で
two
確か
jungles,
に
they
フラッシュが
both
負けたんですか
need
ね
the turtle.
ホームボーイズに
No, it's a 50-50, right? It's either we go down to the gold lane or we have to fight for Lethal Wanderer and then we'll see what happens there. Either or, I don't think Homeboys is going to like even walk up. Where they're like, hey, you can take it, boys.
Yeah. And there's more pressure on Flash because they can't really play the weak side of the map. The Irithel is just too safe and is a winning matchup already up against the 1-1. So you either win Turtle 1 or you wait and scale. And I don't think you want to do that with a 1-1 in your composition. This is a pick that wants to snowball, wants to get those mid-game team fights rolling, and you want to end the game before people get Winter Crown.
For sure. Yeah, the Winter Crown's going to be a bit of an issue here. As we look through the players, you can definitely see that this is a high gamble from the side of Flash SG, because again, it's not dependent on team play. It's more dependent on that first minute of the game. How do we play this lane? If we can get an advantage, that advantage will slowly increment itself to something bigger coming into minute 2, minute 3. And that's what I'm worried about for the Homeboys. If Homeboys are able to kind of survive that first 3 minutes, go into that turtle, they don't necessarily even have to contest the turtle. They can just walk away.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no pressure for Flash to fight. They have ridiculous disengage with Mathilda. And yeah, as expected, purifies across the board. Also for Izanami.
All right, we're finally getting into this. Emma, oh wait, hold on.
Is he
going for an opposite purple start? He's going to the orange buff to try and steal this away. Is there any information whatsoever? I don't think so. Nobody knows that he snuck through.
Hey, I've seen a whole lot of things in MLBB. But one thing I would never expect is for an Akai to invade level 1.
Yes.
He's gonna get it too, and there's no punish. Yeah, Homeboys are just playing it classic. Hades going for more. He's playing like a Nolan on this Akai.
It's so smart. It's so smart.
Amal's gonna find out.
I mean, he's gonna find out fairly quickly, but it's so smart because he knows, hey, Irithel has to make sure that, you know, she has lane prio, and now the first little water is gonna come up, and Hades, he's like, who wants to fight?
He's gonna get it. Oh, it's Amal who secures it, but it is a big retro use. So Hades gets level 3. Amal is stuck on 2 with Redrin, and it's in We have to talk about that. Usually you go concussive blast just to clear a bit faster. Amal has gone the sustain route. You lose out a bit of that clear pressure, but now it is a big advantage to Team Flash. Akai is gonna hit level 4 without even going full camp.
And the worst part is that Homeboys can't even try and look for a camp of their own. They can't go for the counter invade, especially since Esmeralda is controlling the wave and already confirmed the position of Amal. Now, looking at the emblem set so far, everything looks
これよく見ると思うんですけど、EXP とゴールドはもうラストヒットだけなんですね。
Look at this, the way the Flash SG are just playing. You see the juice in rotate over after getting that mid pry that we were talking about. We expected them to rotate up top to help Vanix, but Vanix has just been playing a safe game as the juice in starts to leash. This is Turtle 1 guarantee. Team Flash.
This is beautiful from the side of Team Flash. Very mechanical, very this is kind of reminding me of some of the good old days of how SG likes to play a very technically perfect game.
Look at that, Vel zoned away by the Esme.
これフルパのチュートリアルですね。
I don't think they can contest this. That's an Akai with level 4. Tsunami Simon to the heavy spin there as Retribution comes in. Vel is just going to be pinned down. That's first blood over to Curtizi. JPL wants some smoke, walks. Purify from Izanami.
He didn't want to get pulled back. Vel, a pretty bad flicker angle there. Probably was thinking to get on the opposite side of Hades, didn't get what he wanted, or at least over the wall. First blood falling over the side of Team Flash. Now they're just going to maintain this type of pressure. This is exactly what Team Flash has wanted for their early game.
And I'm not even sure if Homeboys can actually. JPL with a jump of the flame from LQT doesn't have Purify here. No sprint either. It'll be a free kill over to Vanix as they go for more. Hades tanking up the turret. And it's a win. Losing matchup in 1-1. Everything is going as planned here. Ivan knocked up. They want to go for more, but it only just distracts Amal, who's already behind and will be even more behind. As Hades still has a full jungle.
This is a beautiful early game coming out from Team Flash. I may be a Malaysia fan bias here, but Team Flash, they're coming up with their own piece of art. Let's look at the lead so far. It's a 1.3K, rather small, but significant, especially when we're talking about not only the jungles, but now that Wanwan has that 500 gold lead, they're going to have a full opponent against MelQT. Oh no, this could be bad here. Yep, they're able to disengage.
Unfortunate for Vel, yeah. They get a green camp, but as you saw, they need 4 members.
パンダが今から2レベル差をつくから、またハントのダメージが大きいから簡単なタートルだね。これ1レベル差。
Yeah, the tempo is on the hands of Team Flash, and they're not going to waste it just yet, right? Next turtle is going to be contested by the Homeboys, it seems.
LQT, not prepared for this. Tsunami slam over. That is a crossbow attacking the Spire. A bit unnecessary, I feel, but it's all right because they get a trade over up top. And now it's up to Homeboys to look for a big fight. Let's give it the heavy spin to zone Hades away. And it does seem like Amal's struggling to take
Esmeralda.
this. Hades walks up, gets in place, and wins out the entry. The JPL rotates over. Two-man Thomas Hades is trying to escape now. Bell looking for the vengeance stacks, but it will be Kurt who peels off of Hades. And it becomes a bad fight. A 4-0 start to the game for Team Flash. They go for more. A super long team fight. And Homeboys have no damage. Another pullback just to let Ken dance on Bell.
So far, Team Flash really has gotten everything planned out from minute 1 all the way to minute 5. This is a disgusting bout. 4-0. Homeboys have 0 pressure. All these, honestly, it all started with the fact that Team Flash is exploiting every little thing from the side of Homeboys. Over mid, MLQT decided not to take Purify. All right, they can divide and conquer, and now Hades has extra confidence. Look, even Vel can't really deal with the pressure coming in from this Esmeralda. Ken is playing a strong game too.
It's so good for Team Flash at this point of the game, man. Gold distribution. Oh man, 30 minions already taken. Well, I mean, that's not 30 minions. 30 gold over from the minions.
5分で4
Now they're gonna go for the mid lane. Ken rotating
5000 ゴールド差があるんだ。
JPL lever to back, able to get the knockup, but it's a double Beyblade battle. He's a Nami Khan following Starmoon Ken in the midst of that's a big Appraiser's Wrath that lands, but Vanix gets taken out by the crossbow. Now another knockup from Curtizi. 3-4-2. Team Flash looking for more now. 4,700 gold lead for Starmoon over to Mel. Good guiding win to get him out, but you can see that even with the photo, it's an advantage to Ken on the Esmeralda.
The first 2 minutes of the Team Flash rotation
当たり方もうまいし、
and Homeboys, considering that they're playing an Irithyll as their
もう最初の赤の 赤を盗んだ時は結構大きかったな。
from Homeboys now will have to come from them capitalizing on a Team Flash mistake, because we are getting to the point where the chances of Homeboys finding a turnaround increases. Team Flash took some hits and took a few losses there.
Live view. There's a bit of a battle. So there is slam over. Amal walking way too aggressive right before Turtle.
簡単に言うとチュートリアルだね。
You're not going to be able to find your turnaround in the mid game 6 to 8 minute mark like that. So Homeboys are going to have to hunker down and accept the fact that it is going to take a long time for them to fight back against Team Flash. They can just continue this aggression, control the river, control the jungle, and most importantly, get the third and final turtle of the game. All turtles go to Team Flash.
It's one thing being behind in the jungle on a Fredjin, but against an Akai, it's a rare sight, man. It really is unusual. JPL get caught. They finally get something here of a trade when it comes to the turtle fights, but it's a roamer too. I think Team Flash are all right with that. They get a big resource out already with the Valentina taking a heavy spin. He steals the orange buff again. Homeboys. I don't know. I don't think the catch on JPL is worth a turtle and an orange steal.
まあいいトレードかな。
At this point, it's really difficult for Homeboys to actually push back into it, right? The lead is very, very clear. The timers are running out. And worse yet, Team Flash has almost hit that checkmate angle, right? 6.4k so far. And look at them. Homeboys are forced to stay together. Every little objective, every little buff.
So what we've been already talking about, the fact that Homeboys will already struggle to get back into the game through laning. Now, because they're sticking together, they're going to get less and less gold. It's going to be dispersed among... Oh my lord, that's almost a 3,000 gold lead between the gold laners. And it's supposed to be the counter match of JPL with the Teal.
3000差があるんだ。ゴールドレーナーで。
That should be a free crossbow tang into the backline too. Ivan melting down, has to purify, but you cannot purify damage. Amal massive Appraiser's Wrath, but he's a bit too behind to deal any damage.
これ10分で終わりそうやん。
Holy shield.
I mean, Team Flash right now is playing a strong fundamental game. Exploit the weaknesses, maintain that tempo, and utilize your lead against your opponent. Because you're not only so far ahead, but because your all-timers are just so much better. Homeboys have to use everything defensively. Every single time they react, it's a winning scenario for Team Flash.
Man, Mel walked up and JPL felt no threat. He was just like, all right, I got you, fam. I'll walk back as well. This is Team Flash's, I would say, maybe this could be the explanation to why they were super shaky in SG. It was Zace implementing his style of MLBB into the team, and it took
やべえ、
a
その
while.
赤を盗んでいくって
It's
いう
tough,
の
right?
は
This is
あ
very
りだね。
execution heavy. This is very macro centric. Every little micro in a lane is taken into consideration, and if somebody misses a timing, it really starts to snowball out of control. And now that the homeboys, they've reacted a little too much to what Team Flash has offered on the table. Everything is up on the table for the side of Team Flash. Nothing can be really stolen away. Even when
その
we're
紅
talking
白の
about
ス
big
キンは
plays,
なん
there's
だ
a huge lack of damage from early to mid from the side of homeboys to even make it work. Now, Melkuti,
やべえ、これ終わり
two
そう
items, doesn't even have the Berserker's Fury. Recently, Ama just finished the Radiant Armor, and that's the problem, right? Because the big lead is coming from Vanix. He's got everything. 4 items already.
これうまいな。
Holy.
Yikes. Melfic gun at 10
ロー
minutes
ド
on
を
the
ちゃん
1-1.
と時間を見
It's
て
a sight to behold.
やって
Frigid losing
レーンを管理するための
against Anakai.
時間を
You're talking about
チー
Toomey
ム
and
に
Renmar. Now
上
it's
げて
4. Oh, that is just brutal. And this is something that I actually didn't expect. I was about to say that I'm glad Kurt didn't buy the Sky Piercer when you have a 1-1 on your team, but he did. So one of those will be neutralized by the other. I don't think you want... Actually, it could work well. If you get crossbow tang and then you execute while the crossbow tang's on him, then technically yes. But yeah, you're just gonna have to coordinate that.
You not only do you have to coordinate that, I think it also gives
これは
incentive
ロー
for
ド待ちやん
Vanix
な。
that if you have an option to go
だから
for
上
the
放置
crossbow
なんだ
tang
ね。
early, just let it rip, right? You still got Cartesia as your insurance policy, not to mention, again, with these timings, if the fight occurs prior to the Lord, before it spawns, and I mean, I don't think they can, wait, can they look to close out this game? They've got the 10k, they could look to try and muscle in against the homeboys. Let's see whether Hades
上は
finds an angle.
落ちたな。だから誰も守りに行かない。
Here for homeboys, not as good. A charge up top of the Lord, able to get a base turret now, but there's going to be a
ミード
second
行っ
wave
てる。
coming
ロー
down
ド
into
行っ
the
てる
bottom
間
lane.
に
Flash
下
rotating
に
down
行っ
as
て
Ken tries to provide some space over from the Lord. Ivan doing a good job with just standing in the middle, giving some space over to the rest of the team to get the guiding win. It's a good defense despite everything. A 10,000 gold lead. Flash having
でここは入って
so
くる
much
んだ
more
ろうな。
tempo. They've only kept their losses 1. Falling Sun Moon charged up from Ken. Might be looking for a big engage, but decides against it now as Vanix gets free hits over to the base turret in the mid lane, and it will be 3. Oh, final slash into the back now, able to get away. Curtizi, Crimson Beacon, Hades.
おお、2
Hitting
人
them
捕まっ
down
た。
as that is a solo Izanami to just spin in the front. Go shoot.
あらら。
It's JPL over. Ken just dancing, and Flash lose Vanix for
紅白が落ちた
Izanami.
の
I
か
mean, it was a good play coming in from the homeboys, but at the end of it all, Team Flash are walking away with
早いね。やっぱ
inhibitor
り
turrets at the 12th minute of the game.
アロとのフラッシュオルトはちょっと反応できないね。プロでも反応できなかった。俺だけかなと思ってたんだ。プロでも反応できないんだね。
They can look for the chase if they want to, but I don't see Izanami there.
I guess they're thinking, you know, Vanix is down. We gotta make the most out of the situation. Try to get something back, but it's so difficult when you have a front line like this.
このエスメ止めれるやつがお
But
ら
you
ん。
you also don't want to target him.
There's nothing they can really do about it. I have to admit that this is a losing scenario for the homeboys. Unless they can have 2 successful base defenses against
なん
Team
でこっちでや
Flash,
ってる
then sure.
これ
But
こう
then you have
ね
to start
ここだとする
considering
とね
what does the siege look like? And it's so
日本語で
better
自由に
for the
喋れ
side
る
of Team Flash. They can bait things out, and more importantly,
向こうだとするとやっぱり
Ken,
ね
right? Falling Star Moon.
英語とかスペイン語とか入ってくるから
Able to get a knock over to Tsunami Slam. Great targeting over to Bell too. Crossbow tank ready, and it will be canceled just for a bit until
what
it
the
gets
side?
unleashed onto Amal. Praisers Rat
回復で
landing.
きた
Good read. Falling Star Moon from Ken on 3.
エスメラルダ止めれるやつおらん
One more shot. Vanix gets
あ
another.
ああ
It's
ら
a
ま
double for Vanix as Ivan gets swooped back into the base. Curtizi with 3 of the Sky Piercer stacks, executing the members of Homeboys
強いね
with a wipeout and a stop
最初
in
の
game
赤スティー
1.
ル
And this is
いい
what
ね
I'm
そ
worried
れ
about. Every
それって
single time we see
バンドだからできたん
Singapore
かな
versus Malaysia, and especially with this lineup from Team Flash,
結構
the higher the prize pool,
アドを
the
取ってもうそのまま
probability of
ずっと
them
キー
winning
プやって
just
たんだな
skyrockets.
My goodness, Team Flash
強い
are incredibly sharp.
強い
I think both of you said it there. They are so systematic. There is a scary
強い
formula to how they operate in the early game that
やっぱりね試合ではねアド取るのは簡単すぎるんだけどそれをキープするのが難しい
next
なんだよ
game
ね
Team Flash already has this.
I think
Crazy.
it's it is bringing back the SG of old. Last year when we saw Team Flash, they were like, oh, it's a meta where we need big playmakers, and that's why Diablo was such a huge integral part. And also, let's not forget about Curtizi with his crazy picks. But now they're going back to the good old. We take small exploits and see if we can chain them together to make a
これはね、エスメを止めるやつがいなかった感じなん
And
で
I love this version of Flash better than the previous one. They
無理があっ
literally just
た。
traded out those crazy picks in the draft to crazy plays in the game. There's just those little movements like invading early on the Akai, a subversion of Homeboys' expectations took him out.
Yeah,
そう
that
パンダ
subversion, I feel like
パンダ
not
強い
only
ね。
Homeboys, but all of
赤
us
スティ
here.
ール、ちょ
There's
っと予
always
想外
an
だった。
asterisk when you
す
talk
ごい。
about Singaporean teams and international tournaments, when you talk about Team Flash and international tournaments. Here this time, it feels
頭
like
いい
in
ね。
the first appearance, it's a very loud
最近も
statement
誰
right
もや
away
ってない、
saying
そ
this
の
isn't the
バフをスティール
SG
しに行く
Team
みたいな
Flash
感じ
of
の
old anymore.
逆にやるっていう
It's
の
more
が
of like the classic
Yeah.
Singapore teams of old.
It's the guard, you know? It's
Oh
the
my
guard.
God, JPL's been here for six MSCs.
He's been here for a very long time. But the fact is, now, what is the adjustment coming out from Homeboys, right? Because Team Flash, they planned it from the very start. With a
これはもう
1-1 opener on their side, the fact that they
ヘ
didn't
ル
pick
シル
their
かわいそうや
mid
な。
lane super
131
early as
でし
well,
ょ。
they waited to see what
ゴール
Homeboys
ド
was
がえ
going
ぐい
to
もん、
drop
差
onto
が。
the table. And then, I think all of this could have
こっち
been
もえぐい
prevented
ね。
had Homeboys figured out straight away, wait a minute, this Akai
いや
Hades has just
こ
stolen
れとこれ
away
同
our
じやん。
orange buff. Now we have to force vertical jungling.
ひどい。
And they can't really do it. That vertical jungle was non-existent,
多分
right?
これ
They
次
rotated
アサシンに
over
変わるん
top,
だね。
and they decided to fight for a few camps instead of trying to look for other
これ
trades.
大体2000から
But
3000
even
だね
then,。I
ゴ
think
ゴー
it
ル
was
ド
just
差が
difficult
ゴール
because
ゴールドレ
even
ーダー
if
の
they decided to go for the
ゴールド
vertical
がえぐ
jungle
い
in the
とちょっと
bottom
どうしよう
lane,
もない。
Ken was the one having most of the prio.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And again, we were talking about it earlier in the draft that the Esmeralda's actually going to be very happy in the hero matchup that he's facing up against. And with how JPL and Curtizi were rotating, especially, it feels like wherever Homeboys wanted to go and get something, yeah, they were able to steal what, one lizard at the beginning of the game when they had to sacrifice the first turtle. After that, they tried to contest the second turtle, but at that point, Flash had enough control in the map, had
Esme
enough
これ
of
だ
a
けでいいも
little
んね。
gold advantage that
この
Homeboys were just desperate.
Exactly. So really, what it comes down
ドミナ
to
ン
is
トの
find a way to force lane priority on your side. Be able to contest your opponents, especially when you know your opponents are looking to kind of force you in a non-existent, more so a scaling matchup, right? Here, it's not about scaling anymore. It's how far
同じ
we
ぐらい
take our
ダメー
lead.
ジ
And
与えるという。
unfortunately, Homeboys kind of fell into that trap lane with only a single win condition rather than having multiple outs.
Yeah, the single win condition was really just the Fredrin Arlet combo and Aerithal winning lane, right? It's
やっぱりロームはタンクの方がいいね。
honestly, I don't really think this draft is horrible in any way. It's a very safe draft. It was just that Flash SG played it so well. Again, that little invade, that subversion of your expectation. You would never think that Akai,
これなんか
level 1, would invade your orange buff.
I mean, I do that all the
キャ
time.
ラ
but
的
I
に
die.
ドラフト的には結構いい感じだけど
Team
な。こ
Flash showed how to do
れ
it
これも
right.
シンプルで
From
良かったん
there,
だけ
it
ど
just
な。
seems like they were operating. I was observing their comms. You could hear
う
very
まいね。アド
specific
取ってからずっ
shot
と
calls.
キープす
One
る
guy
んで、やっぱ
wanted
り
to go
強
here,
いね、
they'd
そ
be
れ。
going, no, at this moment you have to be here. So they're at that level now.
Oh yeah, they're playing not only systematic, but they're trying to work like an absolute machine. This again is
火
probably
力ロー
what
ムとか
Zace
や
is
めてほしい。
implementing for this
それっ
squad,
て
right?
もしか
He
して
comes
セ
from a
イ
very
バーとか
traditional
ね。
MOBA background, so he understands each
いまだにい
step
る
of
よ
the
ね。
game has a timing that
セ
they
イバー
want
ロ
to
ー
hit.
ム、
And
ハ
even
カー
that
トロー
priority
ム、
on one side
ナ
kind
タリア
of
ローム
alters
と
the
か
plan
も。
just a little bit. So again, it also forces the team to play at a high execution rate. Because let's say Vanix ended up dying in lane. Oh boy, now we have to adjust.
それはね、ちょっとやめてほ
This
しい
is
よ
what
な
it。feels like to. I feel like we are just witnessing generations worth of
あ
STEM
の
focused
ロームの
education.
青いブーツナーフされてからあれはもう使えなくなって使い物にならんも
I
ん。
really want to go even deeper here
それをちょっとやめてほしい
to
ね。
understand why they did it.
わ
Akai
かる、
level
その
one.
気持ち。
You
わかる。
just again expect why would you go level 1? I think the setup was already there too because they understood. We actually mentioned this before the draft or before we got into the game. 1-1 will win against Aerithal level 1. You have way more kill threat level 1 with the Inspire, and that's what I think opened up the window to an invade early. If the Aerithal walked up, there was
ナ
no
ーフ
way
され
for you
さ
to
れた
actually
よ。
outfight
青い
that
ブーツね。
composition.
ロームの青いブーツ、名前がちょっ
Oh,
と
I feel like now
覚えてないけど
though,、
青いブーツナーフされ
yes,
て
was it a bad draft?
火力
But
が
at the end, that's why I posed that
入らなくな
question.
ったねんな、
Which draft
自
is
分
actually
に。
easier to pull off? So maybe that's
その
what
周り
Homeboys
の
are gonna look towards that, and maybe
周りの味
more
方に火力が
conditions.
入っ
But it
て
feels like because of the order
だけど
right
ハ
now,
カー
I
ドとか
remember
だとするとね、
all
ナタリア
the
とかだと
picks
するとやっぱり
some
大体
picks
一
could
人
have come a little
だ
bit
から
later,
あんまり意
and I
味
think
ない
we
ん
had
だよな。
more room to adjust. But
だ
then
け
with the
ど
first
い
three
まだ
picks
に
already,
人を
it feels
使っ
like
てん
we
だ
were
よね、
just
それ。
shoehorned into playing this way that Team Flash had enough room to adjust it in the second half of the draft.
Yes, I mean, let's also consider that this may prove to be a potential exploit for the side of Team Flash, right? Because again, if they are going to be saying, hey, we want to be able to get Vanix on these particular picks, can he play every single gold lane pick? And because Hades, he's flexible, we know he can do it, and as long as they have a mid duo that's actually winning, things become a lot easier for them. I think now that Homeboys get kind of identified, all right, not only are they playing for mid, Hades is kind of a non-factor in a lot of these matchups because he can play this Akai in that 3-tank trio in the jungle. We need to make sure that Vanix has a bad matchup now.
Yeah. I think you just have to lie. Homeboys have just been too brutally honest in their drafts.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, I feel like that's been a theme that we've had so far here.
From MWI?
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta lie.
Just lie.
Sometimes you just got to be dishonest.
Okay. Yeah, we're talking about drafts here,
yeah.
folks. We're not saying anything else.
Don't cheat on your wives.
Yes, that's
especially at a concert.
Good.
Hey,
that's cold.
That's cold.
All right. So now for the second game, I feel like I think we're all in agreement here. Drafts-wise, Homeboys be a little bit more dishonest. Don't show your cards too early, and I want to go back to one ban that they dished out on. Do you think that Tigreal ban was a little bit of an overthink? Because if they knew that they were going to be playing Akai, Arlott, and that they stole away the Frederick, and that most likely Team Flash are going to play utility, it's obvious that they were actually going to play Akai.
I think they were reading into JPL's hero pool a bit too much. They were like, all right, this guy plays Cho and Tigreal for the most part, right? From previous internationals in MPLSG as well. So they were like, take away the comfort. Even though it doesn't make sense yet, just take it away.
That or Vel's like, guys,
火力が低すぎて弱いイメージある。それはね、瞬間火力じゃないからね。あのキャラはやっぱり集団戦で強いから。でもあとはポークとかするだけぐらいなんだよね。一人じゃ何もできないイメージで強く感じるのは集団戦に強く感じるね。バーストがないから結構なんかソロランとかだとすると結構厳しいね。キャラが強いけどね。
went around it, very clearly going around it. They could have gotten Farsa if they wanted to, but they instead went for the Zushin.
Yeah, all right. So those are our notes of what could happen or what the Homeboys could look to fix heading into their draft for game number 2. But before that, let's learn more about Team Flash's journey heading into EWC.
なんだよこの動画のやつ。誰誰
feel grateful that I get to play EWC the second time.
JPN.
It wasn't a smooth journey we had. We were struggling quite a bit in our league.
King's Vanguard! Oh my goodness! By the face of Team Flash! Almost being able to...
こういうの日本でやってほしいよね。
Honestly, I feel that the most important thing for this current EWC is who can adjust to the current meta the quickest.
かっこいい。そういうのがタイプなんだ。
Teams from Singapore, especially Flash, are notorious for doing good when the prize pool is big. Coincidence? I think not.
なんだっけ JPL って人がロームの人かな、そのフラッシュのロームの人ってチョウとティーグラレしか使えてないんだよね、リーグで。だからさっきティーグラルバンされたんだよね。
Without the best of 5, they send the Homeboys home.
We are hungry for more.
去年も戦ってフラッシュが勝ってホームボーイズが負けて終わった。
So what now then can Homeboys do as we continue our little analysis of what Homeboys can adjust into the draft?
I'm saying, I'm throwing it out there.
Okay.
Take blue side. First, take blue side, see how they respond on red side. And I think the order of bans need to change just a little bit more. Because again, Uranus could have been taken there. They could have had a non-off lane. They prioritize that combo a little too much. And I think teams need to kind of need to flex it a little differently. If they show Fredrin early, okay, sure. But then at least then the signals aren't as clear.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty okay with staying on
こ
red
んな
side. I
人たちだっ
understand
て
why you
も
wanna go
う
for blue
18 と
side,
か
but even
20
staying
歳
on
と
red
かそのぐらい
side
やん。
here, I would just say get more, just lie a bit more, be dishonest in the draft because again, when they picked up the Art Irithel, we knew what was coming, and Flash knew what was coming. A few moments away, like they knew the Fredrin was coming and it was already countered by the 1-1. So they picked up the Irithel, which was going to be a counter to the 1-1, but then they gave more value to the 1-1 in the end. Like if you want to go for the counter, I would just say go for the Farsa then. If you want to play that kind of composition where you can at least outrange and
昔強かった人は弱くなってしまったの。そりゃそうだね。いろんな人いるね。やっぱり反応遅くなったりとか、あとやっぱ若い子には勝てないね。反応がまあそうだ、反応鈍くなったりとか、なんか違うところで勝つっていう感じなんだよね。その PS とかっていう感じで勝つんじゃなくて、それはどっちみち負けちゃうからね。でも違うところで勝たなきゃいけないっていう感じになるから、できなくはないけどね。でも難しいね。やっぱり倍働かなきゃいけないっていう感じだから。経験値で、まあそうだね。経験が大事だからね。だけどこういう人たちとか若いのに、例えばこういうステージとか慣れてる、緊張しない。もう見てこの顔。もう暗殺者の顔してるもん。だこういうそういう経験だとするとまあ難しいけど、まあそのチームでなんか考えてうまくやっていくみたいな感じなんだよね。あの人が暗殺者の顔してるもん。一番右のメガネの子。あの道ですれ違ったら俺多分道譲るもん。
may know some things from scrims, but the results of yesterday as well, where we saw some significant Harith performances. Maybe that one's getting taken out. Oh, of course. For Homeboys, Isan Shin might be available.
これ見ると、これ何歳だろう JPL でしょフラッシュ JPL ちょっと探してみるわ。これ、ああいうなんかすごいサラリーマンの顔してるけど、なんか18歳とか。
Yeah, I think the Yusun Shin should be the choice here for Homeboys, and that's why Flash SG have already changed a bit of their draft. I mean, at least in the bans, they banned Lancelot second previously. I think now they're definitely thinking about
この JPL はね、面白いのよ。このフラッシュの JPL っていう人がね、この名前はね、この人の名前はね、古澤明宏なんだよ。29歳。プロとしてやっていくには短いジャンプ。いや、そんなことないよ。そんなことない。日本。そう、この人はね、シンガポールなんだけど、なんか、古澤明宏だからね。スパイやわ。これ MSC に日本人おったね。
I'd rather go Uranus. Well, excuse me, Juicen. Okay, center of the map, 100%.
この人がね、29歳。
They're trying to do it again, aren't they? They're trying to get the Arlet, Fredrin, and Jushin. Again, this is I'm just ballparking it here. I'm not entirely sure whether that's going to be the end game composition.
すげえ、ファーサが入ってるのに。
You can immediately just go for natural combinations of Kalia, Farsa almost straight away. Force your entire composition to take.
ファーサ、カレア。頼む。当てさせてくれ。ドラゴンボールのモーバー。おお、逆だった。逆だった。彼はファーサだったわ。逆やったわ。
And they've already gotten a way to deal with the Arlet already. Like the Esmeralda was a great answer. They could also just threaten to take it here. And then play around Hades' deep hero pool. If you play a guy like that, any hero fits.
と、なんかアサシンが使うでしょ。アサシン。
Something that doesn't really show their roam EXP or jungle just yet.
But what?
I think
アサシンだ。ドラゴンボールのモーバーとか。これね、アサシン。ドラゴンボールのモーバーって何？何それ？ガト。
Yeah, so okay, they clearly show the roam. We don't see the EXP and gold. All right, so Homeboy's being honest with this. Unless somehow they put it in the EXP, but we rarely see Gacha
ああ、これね。確かになんかドラゴンボールのやつが出るよね。
Did Homeboys pick up the Lancelot because they were expecting Nakai to come out again? That could be a possibility.
それでもまだ出てないよね。
Flash. Okay. Do you want to go gold at this point?
マジで
try to take
こ
away
れ
the gold
は
lane
多分
counters?
フリーザしか使わない
Because
ん
if
だ
they go
ね。
for Granger here, I think it'll be a bit too crazy with the Farsa already there, right? Like it's so hard to land your abilities against Lance, so they go Joy.
They go Joy, then they're probably gonna take out something like the Moskov. They can leave open the Granger.
Yes.
You know, historically, Granger does not like Joy.
何これドラゴンボール激震スクワトラってやつか10月20日リリースなんですけど大丈夫ですか
Because with the temporal changes, temporal rain, and old Starlium sites, you can go in and out, chunk you out, get your ult back, come back in and kill you all.
2025年10月20日リリースなんですけど
Make sure that Farsa is strong enough to be able to launch the feather airstrike early,
大丈夫
hold
か
on to Kalia's ult, chunk you
これ
out,
ほら
and then let
ハリスバンして
Joy
ジョイをピックをするんだよね
start cleaning up the messes.
Esmeralda ban, I feel like that's a little bit of a signal that they might be considering Uranus in the EXP lane.
Or maybe even the Arlet themselves.
これさっきはこっちでフォレドリを使ってたからジョイはブーブーっていう感じだったできなかっただけどランスロットを選んでジョイが決めたこれはねもう大体どこのチームでもやってる10月だよ10月
Probably not then.
Yeah, I still, they have one form of scale, well, technically two forms of scalar damage. I mean, Joy, full item build is still pretty ridiculous sometimes, especially if you don't have like Rose Gold Meteor or ways to kind of protect yourself.
Even if sometimes.
Yeah, even if sometimes. It does get pretty ridiculous.
これ2人とも EXP バンするんだ
It looks like Homeboys, you know, taking it at face value and Coach Zay's is
やっぱ今はね EXP 出せないんだよねラズリは強いラズリはレイトすぎるよね弱くはないと思うけどねどのキャラでもやっぱりレイトで2発3発ぐらいで終わらせるっちゃ終わらせるんだけどちょっとレイトすぎるかなもっといいキャラがいるんだねどっちかというと弱くはないけどハンタはどのハンタでも弱くないからねやっぱり EXP めっちゃバンしてるんよ。
I think they have already a pretty good draft against the Hilda, you know?
I don't think it's. Oh wait, no, but then there's still Moskov for the.
全然勝てない。ラス弱い。レイトすぎるからね。アーリは味方任せっていう感じだから何もできない。どうしようもなくなっちゃうんだよね。
Okay, so I feel like that's what Flash is weighing right now. Which gold laner they're going to be going for, if ever. No, did not expect that. Wow, yeah.
これいいね。このピックだとするとフォビオスはできなくなるし、アーロットもできなくなるし。
Okay.
CC バンされてる。
And the CC too, right? But a notorious counter to the Hylos is the glue actually that I think could be pretty good here. Just keep on locking them down. But then you need an explosive gold laner damage-wise, because I think that's what they're lacking now. They have a whole lot of utility with the first two picks. Depending on what the Lancelot goes build-wise, then you'll have a little bit more damage. But
ハンターは難しいね。ハンター出してないね。やっぱり火力が最後に出すんだよね。おお、全然違った。モスクとラップ。やば。ちょっとこれよくわかりません。誰か逆に説明してください。
I think they want to get a little bit more explosive, right? The disrespect
from
game number 1 is not going to go unnoticed.
So, if they want explosive, they could go carry, honestly. They already have a good zone out for her.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, the Granger.
Granger.
Joy.
Carry.
They got plenty of options.
Yeah, it's like they can't go wrong with a gold lane pick at this point.
Because nobody's really going to counter them unless you make a mistake like, oh, I picked Bruno and
what? Excuse me, Team Flash.
Zace, what are you cooking?
わけわからんわ。もうほら読めないわ。ラップラップ弱いの。いや弱くはないけど、そのなんて言うんだあれヒロスにはやっぱりグルーの方が強いかな。わけわからんわ。
Okay, I'm gonna dish out my analysis real quick. I think Team Flash has a leg advantage. They have 8 in total just with the Leomord and the high loss alone. That's it for me. You guys can take over.
Hey, you already built the chariot composition.
Oi,
You're gonna dive into us,
Leomord
we're
ya.
gonna run you over, run circles around you.
どこに入れるん
curious
だ
about
そ
what
れ。
battle spells this Leomord is gonna
You
take.
you have to try to visualize it. The speed, glorious pathway, joy, and Leomord.
It's literally supercharged, the fastest comp you might ever see as we head on into the second match of our very first series here. Homeboys on the blue side,
これは
Flash
面白いわ。
SG on the red side. Let's get this show on the road.
レオモルドは弱いの。弱くはないっていうか大体ジャングルやん。
I gotta
今
so
ゴールド
it is
レーンに行ってるんだ
Phoenix
けど。
on the Leomord with a brave smite, flicker tool. So even more mobility, right? They can run, they can also blink.
But this is gonna be something, right? First couple of interactions here, we're expecting.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, we're expecting Team Flash to have priority. Like Lapu, yes, he clears the lane, but Ken, he will use his early base damage to say, no, I'm gonna zone you off as far as possible, and I will tax your HP.
おいおいおい、勝ってる勝ってる勝ってる。
This is the reason I wasn't really too big of a fan of the Moscow because you need to scale up and it actually just gave the opportunity for Flash to pick up a gold lane like this. Moscow cannot bully early in the game, even with the Master Assassin here. And even if you do get a few more hits, Vanek just needs to land one, gets back full HP with the Brave Smite and Festival of Blood.
He's gonna sustain, right? But I want to see how Homeboys is gonna look to punish this because a lot of this comes down to mid priority. We already saw that JPL got a gold. Hold on.
The damage over to JPL. That's a Lantern Flare. JPL to flick around. A-Mile, puncture, accurate, gets first blood for HP.
And this is the thing, right? Team Flash, it's very clear that they are looking to push, not only push that lane, but tax Izanami. We saw it right at level 1 that they're looking to trade more than actually fight over priority for Lethal Wanderer. As long as they control that mid lane by taxing them, then
これができるね、レオモルドは。1スキだけで、1スキ打って、で、エンブレムで回復して、HP フルでもう一回同じことずーっとの繰り返しなんで。言うたらルビー、ゴールドと同じぐらいかな。
But look at Izanami constantly on him with Lantern Flare. 2 Spirit Mins to pin him down. Brought back to the team. Now it's Vanek walking up, but he cannot do much. Ivan very close from getting the taunt over to Curtizi.
Really good punishes from the side of the Homeboys, right? Very nicely coordinated. As soon as they notice purple buff is happening, through that Spirit of Destruction to double confirm, get the initial slow to allow the butterfly to come out. JPL, boy.
Another airstrike coming down to JPL. Gets away with a sliver of HP as Vanix. This time doesn't have the ultimate to go through. Unfortunate timing.
Okay, let's see how Homeboys plays this now, right? Because now that they actually have priority, they're going toe-to-toe, and they also have a little bit of a lead of their own. Tempo will fall into the Malaysian squad's hands. Team
問題はこの広さなんだよね。どうやって止めるんだって形なんで。
are going to look to move across the map. They know that the purple buff is already down, so they can pretty much track the location of A-Mal at this point of time. So, with Hades pathing towards that top side and JPL now hitting level 4, MelQT, still so greedy, does not take Purify.
Could also be a win for him, knowing how much mobility his Team Flash has. You gotta remember, the Purify doesn't really get you out of the constant slows too, so you need a bit more maybe a blink here. Try to outplay Flash so far. It's been working for them. That mobility on their side has been able to trump Flash's mobility. And Vanix hasn't really been able to join the team fights. I guess they're banking on Turtle 2 then, right? Because that's his
これ
side of
ヒロス誰を止める？
Turtle 2, sure. We'll see whether Vanix is going to be strong enough. I think that he will still need a Fury Hammer completed. Not entirely sure what build he's going to go for, whether it's just pure sustain or like, hey, we're going to scale until the very late games and then you let me get involved. But so far, oh no.
Flicker out, already using the ultimate defensively. Now pure stun, Lantern Flare locked
何も動けない。
Tsunami Slam bringing him back now. It's going to be Ivan falling to the turret. Ken with a cut with the glorious pathway. Kill over to Curtizi. Zanami running away. And I think he should be able to get it done. Yes. Just walks out as Ken rotates over to Turtle.
4人ウルト使ったんだね。
Honestly, not too bad. And now
2
Team
秒で。
Flash can look to actually play the fight without having to worry about the Homeboys looking to instantly have space with the AOG.
Tree battle gonna be close. Phantom execution. Cancel now. Amo so able to get it in towards him. The thorn rolls 2 but Hades wins out the red tree battle with electrifying beast. SOD lands. Curtizi falls to the bravest fighter of Vel as the Lantern Flare knocks Hades up. Vel gets away. And in this long team fight, Homeboys still can hold their own.
Nicely done, nicely done. Honestly, well played coming in from Hades. He completely stops hitting the neutral objective, forcing the Homeboys to say, hey, if you're going to throw abilities, make sure towards that turtle side because there's a large chunk of health on this turtle that I can't get through alone, especially when Amal is at 1 HP.
Another attempt, that's a taunt. Oh, but he still catches Barbiel. Walks up over to Ivan, slowly but surely. Now dragging him back to JPL. Not enough for Flash to commit, but it is a good way to avoid what could have been a bad pick.
I mean, we gotta call it as we see it. That is counter synergy right there. Pushing him back away from the taunt that Ivan was about to set up anyways. Like, come on. Because he knew that he was gonna be in one straight line because of Barbiel. Let's keep it clean here, homeboys.
Unlucky Reno trying to go for the clear in the bottom lane. They will be able to do it. So now the big question is for Team Flash, when are they online? When can we see the Chariot composition fight Homeboys? Because it almost feels like for Homeboys, they're all right with this. They continue to scale JP with the flicker, but it's only onto Ivan. Vanix has the ultimate, picks it up, now to the back line. Cortese demolished by the bravest fighter of Bell, who's still going at it. Izanami in the midst of it all, falling to the music of Hades. JPL now constantly giving the sustain over to the team. No one has lost HP. Flash are healthy, and Mel's getting ran down. He's gonna have to respect this. Hades walks up 1, 2, 3. And won't go for it, but they will cut Mel QT.
なんでこんな硬いの?
The counter dive is going to come out. Void. Does Vel have all? Yes, he does. He's going to be able to clear this wave, no problem. If he gets a kill on Vanix, that's funny, but for now, he should be okay.
Two-man stun, crazy sustain, lapu lapu.
なんかみんな HP 半分以上なんですけど。
Again, that ult is so short, right? He goes into the middle of that fight, uses the bravest fighter, and then walks back down to try and stop the counter dive from Team Flash. And now we come to that third turtle. This is going to be pivotal for Team Flash. Their ults are about to come back up.
They need to win a fight. For the airstrike to start things off, the bravest fighter gets used up again, double taunt into the stun!
It's you!
Doesn't land, Cortese flickering and flying away to the other side. Izanami ran down by Barbiel as Hades continues to dish out damage. Cortese with a fight, but it's only onto Ivan. Mel QT picks up the kill. Taunted, but looking for the damage. Mel QT with the Spear of Misery, but displaces him towards the dash. And in the long team fight, it's 2 for 1. Homeboys on the turtle. Mel on it. Ken looking for a Hades. Has an angle to go for the steal. Walks up, doesn't get it. It's a retribution over by Amal. And that's another stun over. Find Ken. Another taunt over to Hades. With the music, he tries to get away. A few spears to almost take him down.
やっぱりダンスちょっと
Beautifully played by the Homeboys. They weren't expecting that Hades was going to get back into that fight all of a sudden. They weren't 100% sure, but they used the process of elimination and more importantly, they used Mel QT as a dangling
ラプも硬い、ガトも硬い、ショクシンも硬い、ヒロス硬い、ライロ硬い、全員硬い。
I have to talk about the fact that Team Flash, their timings are so ult dependent. If they got no ults, they shouldn't be here in the first place. They can't go for these long sustained fights.
Team Flash are kind of like, they're kind of a mix where they want to go for some, yeah, they really want to win out instantly, but it's just tough because like
ゴールドレーンで200、300、400ゴールド差がある。
damage from Hades too, because the feather airstrike and just Vanix won't be enough.
I think it really boils down to the HP difference. If somebody's put down to 50%, that's when Vanix is more confident to walk in. So they're allowing Hades and Cortese to just rip their ult as soon as possible to see how much they can get from it. But even so, I mean, that's when the value from Ivan's Revitalize comes into play as well.
お湯は遊びなんで。
When is he gonna release it? It's a battle, mind game, and hey, Mel QT wins this one. He's been losing a whole lot of the crab battles, but he's gotten the green raptor over there, and Mel is very close to his item power spike, so the clock is actually ticking away for Team Flash.
Once that DHS is available, Vanix is going to struggle even when you're on top of Barbiel. I'm curious what he's eventually building up to, but here we go.
どうやってわかるのこの人たちも。
Oh, gets away just barely. Amal with a Thorn Rose, 1 HP, and Hades gets away. Now the re-engage for Glory's pathway. Good stun from Vel. Lord spawns in, and they bait it out. 1, 2 for 4.
どうやってわかるんだこの人たち。なんかついてるでしょ。
And more so, they know for a fact that Team Flash can't just blitz down the Lord without committing a couple of their own ults. So Homeboys actually are fine with this. All right, we'll eventually get our ults back up. We can take our time. Vel, his ult is expandable. Amal, same thing. Izanami, you gotta chill out for a second with Ivan. Okay. Amal, he's out of there, no problem. But you can see both Team Flash and as well as Homeboys, nobody wants to take first position on this Lord.
なんでわかるんだよねあれ。
CC
フラッ
immunity
シュ
from
使った。
Vel. Now a stun over. Bit of poke back and forth. They know Vel doesn't have the biggest fighter and they want to go for it. A cut down, but they are struggling to find a target, and now it's even. Both XPs lose on their ultimates. Tsunami slam over. Oh, what is that burst? Vel able to get away now. That's gonna be Vanish. Walk it up, getting the shutdown over. A full dive to the back with a chariot, but look at the bottom lane. Mel QT still going for an SOD landing to the back now. Will he take it? It is an isolation of JPL. Spear misery from Mel QT. One last shot with the flicker and Ken gets the stun. He's one shot Mel. Caught in the back spot, gets the spear misery. Wreaking havoc in the back line as Vanix falls to a double kill. And Hades will be forced to run away. Mel 1 HP. One more shot to get him. He doesn't get it, and Flash are again almost wiped.
Down to the wire. Homeboys, as honest as they are winning out in this situation thanks to their economic advantage. Amal having enough items to be able to start cutting down the members one by one. Through the blood rings as well. Let's look at the replay one more time. That spear coming through, hitting that backline was a very big game changer. We thought he wasn't going to take it, but once Cartesi was in an awkward spot, wait for the last second, he walks down to the mid-river, bang! That's where they catch him.
That was super greedy from Cartesi, thinking that, nah, there's no way he takes this. And everybody was scattered. They weren't on the same page. JPL wanted to fight in the front. Everybody was like, yo, bro, there's an SOD. And then I guess Kurt was like, you know what? I'm going to help my boy. He's almost dead. He walks up and then he falls. But the rest of the team were like, dude, no.
Please, they need somebody to fall back to. That's why anchors are huge in the current metagame. An 8.3k lead coming up from the side of the Homeboys. Oh my lord! Wow! Where did he go?
Yeah, せこいあのキャラ。
A magic trick from Homeboys. You blink and you miss it. Hades got sent back to the underworld. Now to Lord in the bottom lane, getting a full charge in. And I have to say, Team Flash, without a marksman, their clear is pretty bad.
They're struggling right now. Ken's gonna be next to fall, right? No, drops the revitalizer.
Ooh, three-man knock-up. And then SOD into the back line. JP over to Tsunami slam. Ivan down, but there's still no damage to follow it up. Mel QT just going at it with a spear. Next in the chopping block. Amal walking forward with a puncture. And now Mel QT locks onto the crystal. Let's get a full 3-game series, folks.
1-1 so far. I'm just shocked the fact that
Homeboys,
they played kind of honest with their drafting phase, and then we see that final pick. Nobody saw it coming. It didn't work out the way we were hoping for. I don't think it's because of the lead, but it became very clear. With Elise, completed,
with the Brave Smite and Festival.
Out of this comes
JPL. That's a Lantern Flare 2. JPL.
And this is Pax easy for Little 1, just a little bit more, but lane on its own for now.
Looks like they're going to be
こうすごいねこの
trading this. The joy is over.
これちょっと面白いね。ここのところってラップこっちにいるんでしょ。 EXP でロームと、まあ、これつながって一緒に歩いてる。でここにいる EXP なのになんか無視って感じ。
Looks like they're going to be
この EXP だからレベル4になってないから無視かな。
The joy is over. The purple buff, they want to take it. Homeboys have actually blitzed it really quick. Vel, bravest fighter to get JPL off of him.
でこれで2個目のタートルどこだ
much track the location of Amal at this QT still so green.
2個目のタートルはどうやって取ったっけ。何この遅いの。
He will still need a Fury Hammer completed. Not entirely sure what involved, but so far.
これをフラッシュ使わせてでジャンプしてんだ。
Already using the ultimate defensively. Now pure stun. Lantern Flare locked down. Tsunami slam bringing him back now. It's going to be Ivan falling to the turret. Ken with a counter.
なるほどね。フラッシュ使わなかったんだねここで。
Kill over to Curtisi. Tsunami running away, and I think he should be able to get it done. Yes.
Walks out. Team Flash can look to actually play the fight without having to worry about the Homeboys looking to.
これすごいね。これみんながよくあるんだけどね。これ4人同じところなんか一線になってるわけなんだよね。 こう EXP が EXP を波にこうやって見れるから。で、メイジーと、まあこれはランスだね。ランスはウルト2スキルで取れるから。
Retreat battle gonna be close. Phantom execution. Oh, cancel now. Amo, so able to get it in towards him. The thorn rolls to but Hades wins out the retreat battle with electrifying beats. SOD lands. Curtizi falls. And the bravest fighter of Fell as the Lancer Flare knocks Hades up. Fell gets away. And in this long team fight, Homeboys still can hold it.
ここまでは普通だったねんな。同じだった。
Another attempt. That's a taunt. Oh, but he's to avoid.
What energy right
そ
on?
こから3個目のタートルは。
See the chariot composition fight.
ここまでは全然ゴールドとかで500差とか700差とかだったんだよ。
They continue to scale. JP with the flicker, but it's only onto Ivan. Vanix has the ultimate, picks it up now to the back line. Curtizi demolished by the bravest fighter of Bell, who's still going at it. Izanami in a minute at all, falling to the music of Hades. JPL now constantly giving the sustain over to the team. No one has lost HP. Flash are healthy, and Mel's getting ran down. He's gonna have.
これすごいね、この当たり方が面白いね。当たり方がここでベイトして、ここでベイトして、こいつしかいないよみたいな感じで、入って入って、2人硬いの2人が入って、この2人がこっちに来るんだよね。上手。上手。うまい。もう少し前いかない。残念ながらね、4人とも硬いねんな。
in a minute at all, falling to the music of Hades. JPL now constantly giving the sustain, ran down. Melq
he's gonna be able to clear this wave no problem. If he gets a kill on Barracks, that's funny, but for now, he should be okay.
よりが早い。判断力が早すぎる。
Short, right? He goes into the middle of that fight, uses the bravest fighter, and then walks back down to try and stop the counter dive from Team Flash. And now we come to that third turtle. This is gonna be pivotal for Team Flash. Their ults are about to come back up.
They need to win a fight. For the airstrike to start things off, the bravest fighter gets used up again. Double targeted stun. SOD doesn't land. Curtizi flickering and flying away to the other side. Izanami ran down by Barbiel as Hades continues to dish out damage. Curtizi with a fight, but it's only onto Ivan. MelQT picks up the kill. Ken taunted, but looking for the damage. MelQT with the Spear of Misery, but actually displaces him towards the dash. And in the long team fight, it's 2 for 1. Homeboys on the turtle. Mel on it. Ken looking for a Hades. Has an angle to go for the steal. Walks up, doesn't get it. It's a retribution over by Amal. And that's another stun over. And we'll be able to find Ken. Another taunt over to Hades. With the music, he tries to get away. A few spears. To find Ken. Walks up, doesn't get it. It's a retribution over by Amal.
これウルト入ってんだよね、こっち。なのに死なない。誰も死なない。ウルト入ってんだよ。入った後にこの HP だ。よくわからん。誰か説明してくれ。上位のウルトが。上位のウルトが。火力ゼロ。レオモルドさん。レオモルドがね、なんか悪くはね、今だったらね、その、なんていうんだ、まあ、ルビーゴールドとかね、よく見えるし、ファイターをゴールドにするって、まあ、ありっちゃありなんだけどね。
Was there something that they could have done to made this easier for themselves?
超威火力ゼロだったんだけど。どういうこと？確かにナーフされたんだけど、そこまで。で、ランスはちょっとせこい。ランスはね、もうせこいわ、あのキャラ。
I think they could have recovered from the first blood, right? I think that the second turtle was the interesting decision coming in from Team Flash. They knew they could potentially contest, but then Barbiel comes up super early and Homeboys forces it out of them. I think that's where you needed to make the call of like, this is not happening at this point, right? Turtle 1, we see the initial invade. It was pretty close, like if assuming that Hades made it out alive, it would have been worth his time, but
だってフラッシュ、ニップフラッシュ、今負けたチームなんだけど、あの人たちはね、去年なんかもう、マーティスミドとか使ってるしな。本当になんか面白いやつ出してくるんだよ。理解しようとするとマジでちょっと厳しい。
It goes very well. It seems like the rotations are good. Meanwhile, for maybe that is what they can decide to continue to push Homeboy towards and try to put them backs against the wall. Again, if you're just joining us here now, it is heading into a game number 3 for our very first series of the day between Homeboys and Team Flash. Flash got to take game number 1. Homeboys taking game number 2 confidently after Team Flash.
ラスリー出してほしい。ラスリー出ないね。
The award. Hopefully you did get to see that. Yeah.
If not,
ラ
watch again.
スリー
If
は
not,
出ない
we can
ね
go。back real quickly and watch it again. So, seems like our teams are just about ready. We are going to be heading into the draft in just a little bit. What can we expect? That can be the question left up in the air. For now, let's look at the journey of
あ、
Homeboys
ここ
heading
で
into
あ
MSC.
カメラつけてないんだ俺。あ、そうなんだ。今気づいた。
Halo, nama Melkiti.
Mercury
Dari tim Homeboys sebagai goal laner Homeboys.
もう早い語じゃないやん。
Kalah dengan SRG 4-0 and tu memang macam orang cakap yang kita orang memang tak ready.
Kau kakui?
Yang kita orang just nak pergi MSC, tak nak lawan tak prepare lah nak lawan SRG.
もう日本人なんだっけなんていう名前だったっけあの JPL
balik game and improve. Selagi banyak masa yang ada, selagi itu kita orang improve lah.
古澤明宏だ。
This team has so much potential, right? With a meta that is shifting into a more diverse
ちょっと待
style
って
of
日本人じゃないで。シンガポールの人やで。
This is a completely different Homeboy squad compared to
シンガポール人の名前が古澤明宏。
motivation to show the world that MPL Malaysia isn't just all about SRG OG. Don't forget about Homeboys too.
Kita orang semua memang expect yang at least kita orang nak top 4. So susah sikit lah perjalanan tu. Just kita boleh bagi yang terbaik lah.
その名前日本語喋れなかった
You
ら
know,
詐
a
欺
little bit of an understatement there by
確かに
Homeboys
な。
that it was a bit difficult, their journey here. Their
確か
journey was incredibly difficult. And if you haven't seen
古
what they
澤
had
明
to go
宏
through in
これ
the
で日本
MPL
語喋れない
Malaysia
この顔でも
playoffs,
日本語喋れなかったらびっ
multiple
くりするわ
5-game
JPL って何の
series
名前
against
何の
Seoul,
訳してるんだろう
against
ジャパニー
Selangor,
ズ
even almost being the first team to qualify here for MSC is a fantastic
Japanese
story indeed. So let's see if this series is enough. Everything
Lemon
they've
とか
experienced is enough
そんな
for
感じかな
them to take the win over Team Flash. Because we're working for this is like the difficult part about analyzing a game number 3 wherein you're working from two very opposite sides of the drafting and execution spectrum
この
that you're now
間
you're
が
just
長
trying
い
to find that in between for both teams. So what is that in between that we can focus on? Let's start on first with Homeboys.
Okay, I think all of it boils down to put on your tin foil hats here. The fact that I have taken off my face makeup here. Without the mask, think about it. Homeboys were losing the game. As soon as the face paint came off, they started winning. Coincidence? I think not.
All right.
I
I
heard
think
that
my,
phrase before. I think
Me
it's from
too.
a guy who looks like you.
I think my tinfoil hat
Esports
is
Reptar?
これでおそらくあれだな
Yes, getting
Flash
you at
は
Esports Reptar Fatal 5-way.
もう全力でいくっていう感じなんで
Government name over there.
Government
Well,
name.
now, for Flash,
Yeah, for Flash.
back to blue. That's the way to go. I think stick to the orthodox
やっ
strat.
ぱり
Maybe
ね
save
ランスは
those
ね
little
バン
cheese
だよ
strats
ね
for a bit later. I like that they tried in game 2. They had a lead, so they were like, all right, if we get this done, we're going to shatter the expectations of everyone in the tournament. And then they're going to be looking at Flash and being like, what do we need to prepare? Like, what is that? Do we counter Leo? See, it makes it very difficult for the later matches. But now, I think stay chill.
It's about impact, and I think now we need to talk about adjustments, right? Because Homeboy saw what that first game draft looked like, and now we're seeing a couple of similarities, except this time, or maybe, possibly, 1-1 ban. Rain is going to get let through. Kalia might not going to get let through. The power picks are
これ
substantial
もう
for
暗
the
殺
blue
者
side if we follow the
暗
exact
殺者
same
の顔して る
pattern from game 1.
So far, it is the exact same pattern with the Family Lancelot bans, the Yisenshin Phobius ban. So maybe Team Flash, if they change
まあ
things
1試合
up
目
and
同
it's
じじゃ
not
な
a
いなんか
Harith
こういう
ban
の
this time around. Oh no, okay, it is a Harith.
バンも
So
なんか1
it's
試合
up
目
to
こんな感じだったよ
Homeboys
ね
to decide whether or not we're going to be playing with a similar drafting field as game number 1, and we are not, as they take out the 1-1 right away.
There we go. That's what we wanted to see. does mean that Team Flash, again, still plenty of power picks on the table. I want to see what the different style of opener is, right? Look at Zace. He's looking at a notebook. It's like, okay, different opener, new hand. Let's figure this out.
So, Baksha.
Finally.
That was the final ban from Homeboys, I believe, in game number 1, right? So, they take it away. First time we're going to be seeing the Baksha today.
Thank
Career
God
first,
it's so long. Because this now, again, takes away a little bit of value from Izanami. He can't just go, oh yeah, I'm going to take my Kimmy, my best performing hero during the regular season of MPLMY.
So, Homeboys, what are you guys going to do? Play around the mid lane prio, maybe? Rush Juice in if you want to, because it seems like they're very comfortable playing around the Juice in with heroes that can just bully the center of the map, dictate the tempo of the center of the map.
I mean, still 100% win rate. There you go.
Yeah, it's still 100% win rate, but now it also kind of forces Homeboys into these awkward spots. I can't pick Kimmy. I can't pick Kalia as well. Gatot on top of it doesn't do very well into Dubaxia. So as long as we don't know the position of whether Dubaxia is going to go into the jungle or into the support side, I think Homeboys need to kind of narrow down on what their mid lane duo is going to be. Ideally, it's something that clears really, really quick and interacts with the opposing side a little less.
So for Flash now,
じゃなかったらまたフォレルに出さなきゃいけないことになるから。
easy pick here. I mean, it's already up against a Juice in, right? That's where usually you would find comfort. It's already set up by the
これとする
Baksha
と
too.
ゲンハに合うやつとかね。
I feel like it's the safest pick right now that they
Very
can just go
safe.
for.
There you go.
And
やっぱりな。
Whoa.
結構
So they
セーフ
really
ティ
want
ー
to
だ
bang
ね
on the Baksha Angela combination.
シンプル is best って感じの
But then at the same
ピックやん
time,
な。
they have enough room for flexibility in their draft that if they ever put up a different, like for example, the Baksha goes roam, you get a CC in the EXP. That's also another classic combo with the Angela. So there's a lot of options and flexibility for Flash SG heading into the second phase of the draft.
This does mean that Homeboys could potentially look to
これ
kind
め
of
んどくさい
pivot
ね
their composition
ゲンハ
to a
と
more
ジェ
pick
ラ
style if necessary, right? But it really boils down to who's going to be the big burst hero. And right now, the fact that they've already lost the jungle and mid role, it only leaves what just the marksman role at this point, the gold lane. And I don't think, and with Granger as well, unless Granger has like an absurdly winning lead or a huge lead, then sure, that makes sense. But I don't see it because all of their cores have basically been revealed.
And Homeboy's got to ban Irithel now. We know the combo, the Baksha, Angela, Irithel.
Granger.
Very lethal, and it's a composition that would that will give the Irithel a lot of value right now. If you look at it, right, the Juicin, this comp, everyone gets punished hard.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and they still need the front line.
They really need the front line. So I'm hoping Homeboys just please ban out the
Irithel.
Get that out of the way. Make sure now that Irthel's out of the way, don't have to worry about the household domestic abuse that's being applied by Flash SG. But now let's look at Flash SG's side, right? What are they genuinely worried about? They've got one of the strongest heroes in the meta so far, on top of like the ultra sustain and the early game from Kimmy. Like things are shaping up to be well for Flash.
これ何バンするんだろう
A good choice to go for Homeboys right now. They need a bit of shred.
あとロムと
So I'm
EXP だ
thinking
か
like
ら
CC, maybe
フォービーバンされてるでしょ
Blue as well. Something that can deal
これ
with this
うざい
utility
から
jungle, but they just take away the Kalea.
Homeboys need something active here because looking at the lineup of Homeboys, it's
CC か
so dependent again on similar to Flash in game number 2. Homeboys needs to get a really good early game going here. If
これ
they
ゲンハの良さそうは
don't, if they can't
CC
keep
と
it
かグル
close,
ーと
if
か
they lose considerably within the first 5 minutes of the game, the comeback is going to be so hard just through the 3 picks that we already see on the side of Flash alone. So they definitely need a early game facilitator for their lineup.
これ両サイドあと両サイドだね
Wait. They've got Jushin on this side. They've got Granger, who's most likely not going to take Purify this time around unless given otherwise. We do see a Lapu Lapu ban come out from the side of Homeboys. Is this one of those games where you can technically... Oh, but then, okay, so Red Side's going to get that first pick. There could be an opportunity for Ken to kind of flex a little bit more. If he wants Benedetta, if he wants to go into like the big chunkers in the EXP lane, like Yuzong, this might be a game they can actually do it. Again, Kimmy is a pretty solid anchor, but at the same time, if Joy gets too far ahead, it's not going to matter.
With the Baksha in the jungle, do you just want to go for some setters in the XP to just help for Turtle 1 guarantee?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Do you want to go for a bit
サイド火力が出てくるのか
Masha
な
in
CC
the
か
XP?
やっぱり CC かグルーだったらねグルーも結構あれなんだよねゲンハには結構強いから
At least in Indo, we see the Masha a lot against these 3, the Juicin, Joys, and the Granger. It seems like a pretty okay time to go for it, but obviously it depends on what Homeboys go for. Now CC does get banned.
They want to tank. I mean, Uranus is still technically open. Homeboys could pick up Uranus for themselves. It's like a nice little, ooh, I have MR Shred, and I've got a core, 2 cores that can actually benefit from that MR Shred in the first place.
And with that, you deny the Masha, because the Uranus, you're not picking Masha into Uranus.
Oh yeah. God, this is going to be such a boring matchup. But let's see whether Vel wants it.
誰が出てくるんだこれ
The Basha can.
バダン
They go Badang.
Good flex.
Yeah. They needed something.
これうまいねこれだとするとローム足りないのロームと EXP ロームと EXP が足りないでバダン選んだらどっちに行くかわからないという感じだちょっとえぐいなこれ頭いいね
They won't expect us to go Leomord one more
More
time.
time. But this time with an Angela.
ピックがうますぎるわ
They put the Basha in the EXP lane.
They flex it.
これ両方が足りないからどっちに行くフレックスがもできるし
I think the safe choice would just.
まさかよこれでウラノス来たらつまんね
Expected twice.
Nobody sees it again.
Oh my lord. Call the Masha, but the
まあレオモルドがゴールドに行ってるんだけどこれちょっと頼むからここもウラノスやめてや
Sorry, try to play Moscow one more time. Oh no, it's Granger. It's different.
This is a more difficult matchup for the Leomord, no? The Granger?
I do feel that like JPL has a lot of like deliveries to make. He's gonna be like, oh, is somebody a little low? I gotta run over to your lane, top you up, and then go back into the mid lane.
ちょマジここウラノスだけやめてな
Resources again.
That's a new skin, Moonton. Marathon runner Angela.
ウラノスだけやめろ
It's alright.
ウラノスだけやめろ
I'm sure that this is gonna be like a roam Angela. What if the Angela goes mid? You put the Kimmy in
あ
the
グルーはやっぱり原作か
jungle Leomord.
ああよかった
Boxer, hey, it could go any way right now, but the glue does come in. Something I personally expected to be banned over to Kalea.
Big glue energy.
やっぱりサイドは火力が必要だったんだよなこのフラッシュのチームで
At least the displacement.
悪くないレオモルドまたレオモルドゴールドかよ
Whoever gets hard guarded can be displaced.
どういうこと何がしたいのかわからん
That's the most important factor. You get a free 2 for 1.
Can you smell it in the air? It seems like we've got a local game in our hands. The second time a Leomord appears at the hands of Flash SG, this time paired up with an Angela. Who will win game number 3? Will it be them or will it be Homeboys? Gentlemen, your turn.
Thank you once again, Remar. Our desk host giving it up to us to go into the Land of Dawn for one last time between these two teams currently at match point. Homeboys at 1 point, Flash SG at 1 point. And they've changed it up a good amount of times. This time round for our matchup, we're going to see that Leomord one more time. Is this experiment going to work with the lineup with the Angela or not? Flash SG on the blue side, Homeboys on the red.
Second time is the charm. At least that's like the saying that Zace likes. I guess let's see if it actually works out here. Everything does seem to be normal, so there's no crazy flex into the end with the Boxer going roam and the Leomord going jungle. It is the Leomord going gold as expected. Masha with lethal ignition.
Mashaも火力出るし
Oh man, look at that damage from Amal already. Mid prio coming down early. Ivan with a flicker forward, forcing JP with a flicker to Curtizi. Forced to run back.
マーシャはまあね
Because at this rate, Homeboys have even adjusted their starting buffs, expecting Team Flash to go for that initial push and invade. Wow, okay, this is actually working out really, really well for the Homeboys because you would imagine that with JPL on this Angela and Curtizi on a Kimmy, they shouldn't be losing this much health.
Yeah. At least you can heal back, so that's a good thing. Bargain Hunter and the Inspire here, the choice for JPL on the Angela. And it's the weapon mastery, so don't expect him to be participating in a lot of fights early. He's just going to be farming up to be a monster. So Team Flash now, I think they might be playing more to mid to late with the emblems alone.
Yeah, I'm more worried about Vanix right now because, like, in comparison to the Moskov matchup, like, this is a lot easier for MelQT to just go pew pew pew. I'm just gonna chunk your HP. What are you gonna do about it, sucker? Especially at level 2. Like, at this point, like, Vanix is a little nervous to walk up. Every single time he's thinking about the wave, he's just, I have to clear the wave. I can't even trade back.
And it's so annoying because on the Leomord, you can't really last hit without shoving the wave. You throw out that big skill AoE, and it pushes the wave to Granger. Mel can just freeze it up. Hades with shield unity. He's gonna lock Izanami down as immobilization as well. Big damage coming down. Amal is able to dash into the back now, losing a bit of HP. Pops in electrifying beats. Big resource. Let's see what Flash can do with it.
Wow, they didn't. Okay, I mean, Amal definitely didn't want to die early there. He could have looked. Oh, hold on, another opportunity.
Yup, this is the glue. Over to the back, actually able to find Curtizi. Knows he has Purify, goes to the back. Now Vanix rotating over. Something we expected from game 1, or sorry, game 2, shows up here to purify out from Cortese over the mountain. Now Vanek still able to push him back into the mobilization. And now it's
強い強い
who rotates forward, gets the thunderclap, enables the kill. Hades gets away barely, and Ken thunderclaps Amal.
強い。やっぱりライドこんな感じだったってことか。ローテーションが早いから選んでるってこと。面白いね。ローテーションが早いから選んでるか。さっきの試合全然してなかったけどな。
Granger should be the better matchup, but because it's so much of a better matchup, Mel decided to shove the wave and rotate mid for the double lane, I think, right? So that's what enabled Vanix to rotate?
Actually, it's Mel looking to trade against Vanix a little too heavily. Because keep in mind, right, when you are using that Rhapsody, the waves are a big component to it. So you gotta move away from the wave to find these angles, and Vanix allows Vanix to kind of walk up and clear quickly, which is why we saw him move first. So that's kind of on Mel, I'm not gonna lie, but communication should have been there. Like the flicker coming in from Mel in the mid lane, that
面白いねこのピック。
Because the idea right now, I think, is for homeboys.
あのエンブレムだとすると回復もできるし、1スキだけ打てばシールドも回復もできて、グレンジャーより早くローテーションができるってことか。
He's not going to be able to do this again.
無理だなこれ。
See, I will lock down to the pin down already, but Ken is dealing a lot of damage with Thunderclap over to Amo! And he gets the last one! The electrifying beats enable the reset. Cortese mounted, this time they'll purify, but look at the boys! Shield Unity, Hades is rolling over, Bell gonna be stunned up, Ken has 3 more health bars to go for 3 more. Big Thunderclaps, but he doesn't even need it. Cortese gets a Sky Piercer stack off of that kill.
Wait, look at the response. Izanami getting on right on top of Vanix.
ウルトがない。フラッシュある。
Oh my lord!
おマジで。
Safety now under the turret. Now QT doesn't have the bullets.
あ、
Not enough to
ジョイ。
take Vanix down.
ちょい。
Hey, JPL's here. Does he have the hard gun? He doesn't have the hard gun, but he will top up Vanix. Oh, he's playing with fire here.
すごい回復。
Heal it back up. I'm pretty sure that the items.
が。
I think he's got the War Axe. He's healed up a little too much there. Let's look at the items. Yeah, War Axe for some.
面白いこのライド。これ絶対。 ランクに出てきそうやん。
It's a fat wave. It's a fat wave. But can we talk about Cortese and the fact that he's a little greedy boy? He's like, ooh, I'm gonna go for the Sky Piercer. I'm a little dirty here.
He saw the early game. He knows that he and his team are very much in the lead. So, and he actually isn't the main damage dealer. It's actually the 2 side lanes. So he's like, you know what? You do damage. I'll rack up kills, and later I'll do the damage and execute everybody.
All right. So Barbiel has already been thrown out here to try and get some, not only control over the lane, but an opportunity onto Mel QT. It has been nullified because both JPL on top of Ivan very nearby. Wait, Boxia.
Uh-oh, Mel QT dish out damage, but can you sustain? Oh my lord, Hades is a walk-in rock right now. No one can crack him. You can knock him up, you can punch him in the face, you can do whatever you want, but Hades just chills there as he pops in the poison. Oh no. Up top, this is what I was talking about, Gideon. The Masha into Joy, it's so good.
Yeah, that Thunderclap is a little too strong. The anti-synergy here, at any time, Ivan could have just dropped down that wall, and I think it would have been enough space to collide into the turret. I mean, to be fair, Melkuti probably could have communicated. He got no dash. No, at least his flicker is back up, but let's see how they play this next scenario, right? Because ults are available.
Joy 結構厳しいよね、マーシャ。
Proper flank here. If Homeboys takes control of mid bush, that's actually going to be good for Team Flash. Turret up top means that's more prio for Flash, and Hades will utilize it. Shield Unity cancelled. Have to look at the position of Vanix. This could be massive. He goes back into the mid lane now. He has the ultimate. Hades on the neutral objective, gets it for free. Now Traction Pulse. Okay, Homeboys just give it.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well give it at this point, right? A 2.5k lead. Honestly, you need your team to actually scale a little bit more into this game before.
レオモルドゴールドはちょっとやってみたいな。
Items haven't been built in the first place, and I think that's what they need the most, right? Amal has already taken 2 deaths. Hades has a full level lead on top of having 5 assists plus a kill.
Oh my lord! Again, the Thunderclap. This time, not enough damage to get the reset over. Fell.
ダメージがやばい。
Looking for a possible pick, but he knows better than to go in. They know there's an Angela on the other side just waiting for a hard guard.
Yeah, it's just not worth their time, especially with resources on the table.
すごいね。アンジェラは現派にも入れる
economy. It's so much
マー
better
シャに
for
も
Team
入れ
Flash
る
rather than the homeboys. A lot of these
玄
fights
関にも入れ
aren't
る
without much commitment. Because Ken, he doesn't really care, right?
うまい
Just
ね
take my HP bar, give me my resets on my thunderclap. I will take you on every single time. And Amal, he's really struggling with it.
Very much so. Right now, I think the big concern isn't really... It's just pen. They need pen, dude. They need to get through the healing and the sustain. Plus,
なんでこんなとこ
obviously,
で
how tanky Hades is. Yeah. It's... I don't think we're going to see homeboys actually threaten the front line of Team Flash, which is the Baksha, up
Probably
until we get
by-
like to 10 minutes, maybe.
I'm thinking 12, considering
12?
how Team Flash likes to eventually, when they have a clearer lead, like let's see when they get to the 5K mark, right? Oh, hold on.
Yeah, Ken is kind of cooked here. Has to flicker out, but will just be
Oh,
initiated
yeah.
on now. He does a lot of damage over to Izanami at least. It'll be Amon to pick up the kill. Now fist crack over JPL! Flickering out just in time. Homeboys pushing the pace.
Excuse me? How much? Yeah, I would like to see the items. What is Ivan building right now? He's chunking out JPL like a little too much here. He goes for the Thunderbelt first item. Okay, sure. I would have imagined that JPL would have tanked a little bit more, but with Flask of Oasis, it does go to show that at least for JPL, he needs to not get caught in these types of positions.
Yeah. I think it was the fist crack together with Mel just
Yeah,もう
shooting Rhapsody.
マー
That
シャが
looked like it was purely fist crack. But yeah, that was a bit weird to see too. Like,
マーシャは結構いいピックやんな、上位に。
That's damage but down. What's going on here? But either way, despite everything that's happened in the game, look at Vanix, right? He's already
Oh my
completed-
lord.
Oh.
Yet again,
I agree,
purified,
agree,
but
agree,
you will
agree.
fall to Mel QT with the Sky Piercer. Now Vanix walks up. Oh, too much to stay. Now Vanix able to flicker in forward. Ken in the 1v1 against Amal. Has a thunderclap, but Amal is already out. Sustaining it. Going to the 1-for-1. Ken for Amal.
強いね、マーシャ。
Picks up the kill. Hades mounted on, brought back again into the bullets of Mel QT. This time without the help of the hard guard. Vanix no ultimate. Mel QT free to go for the hits. That's gonna be Ivan constantly peeling. That's a shield unity to lock him down. And the damage from Vanix now catches Barbiel. Over to Ivan he goes, who needs to run. Oh, Bell wants to go for it. Jumps in with the slam and the spread.
It's not an easy matchup so far. Bell should be the next to fall here, no problem. Izanami is going to try and cover, but this Lord should fall into the hands
や
of
べえ、
Team
これ
Flash. I mean,
なんか
the Dragon
ランク
is
に
out.
出
Now
て
they're
きそ
just putting the
う。
hard
レオ
guard
モ
to
ルド
make sure that
ゴールド
Hades
と
stays
か。
alive because they know Joy is on the way. But look at them. They're just blowing through this, right? Cutting through that HP like butter.
There's a very specific win condition right now for Homeboys, and it's to catch one of the damage dealers before the fight starts. You get Ken first, you should have enough of an advantage to beat that 4. But it's so hard to
出
get
ない
it.
と
It
思う。
kinda
いや、
relies
出
on
てくるっ
Flash
て。
overextending, making a
出て
mistake.
くるよ。
Right now, the
わけのわから
main
ない、なんかミャンマーの
Ivan
国旗
needs to
着てるやつ
punch
がさ。
Ken out of the thunderclap, right? He's going again. Keep your eyes on Ken because he's going for aim out
で、
every
なんか
single
レオモル
time.
ドゴールドで、
One
え、
for
こ
one
れ
in
知
these
らない
types
の
of positions
み
is
たいな
so
感じの
much
とか
more
言われそうやし。
beneficial when neutral objective is up for
きつい。
Flash. Therefore, Ivan can't be that guy to open up the map. He has to play Peel and let Vel do the rest of the work.
That's why it's kind of botched though, because yes, you want to peel, but your peel while doing damage gives Ken another thunderclap. That's a reset constantly. So I think it comes down to Vel. Like Vel needs to be the one to just hold Masha down. Hades gets the hard guard. I don't know if that's a bit too early though. Poisons and hard guard.
I mean, you know, at the end of the day, they just need to get that mid-tier 1. If they get an inhibitor, that's always a plus point, but they don't have enough of a lead, right? We were talking about that 5k lead. Earlier, they're nowhere near it. They came at 1.7. Oh my god.
That's a pin down over to
強い、強い、
Cortese.
強い、
That's
強い。
a win condition mounted on as well. A free kill over to Izanami. As Ken might be next, has to run away and does get out. Kurt needs to respect this glue a bit more. He was just waiting for the slam.
He kind of ate it, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought maybe like they had to set it up with Ivan flickering forward. Oh wait,
え、強い、
Ball into
強
the
い。
back, good flicker out from Mel QT. HP bar from Ken. Getting wrecked. Ivan though will be falling here to Vanix.
Yeah.
Walks forward with help of
HP
Hardguard.
減らない。
A bit more time as Vel mounts Hades and Amal comes in. Ken, I don't think he can go in with just one
関
HP
数がないんか
bar.
な。
he's got to heal himself back up. But right now we can see that the clear ideologies from Homeboys and as well as Team Flash's side. Both are looking for these initial picks. Both are willing to trade 1 for 1. They got to punch above their weights for whoever they are trading for. And I think so far in terms of like the raw lead, finally we are seeing Vanix in an unbelievable position. He may be 5.
すごいね。現敗選んで、それに関してグル、ジョイ、マーシャにはジョイ。で、レオモルドはちょっと よくわからないけど、ローテーション結構早いねんな。普通のゴールドレーナーとより。ポークでも勝てるし。
And that's also considering Homeboys with Granger, comeback potential is at an all-time high. All he needs is, I think, 2-3 more stacks, and then he'll be online for sure.
Yeah, look at this, right? Because if we're talking about gold distribution, the slight minion advantage for the side of Team Flash, but like pretty significant when it comes down to the jungle creeps. Other than that, passive gold exactly the same. Kills and assists, huge for the side of Team Flash, but it's being distributed rather awkwardly, right? I would have imagined that advantage would be so much further, but that's really coming down to an EXP more than it is gold. At this point, with 3.2k, let's see how they roll the dice. This 50-50 is all about map control.
You see the hard guard being pointed over. Hades walking up, Ken. Half of his HP already, and Banix is the one who gets the hard guard. Hades is up for grabs for the rest of the team. Now to pin down over. Banix no ult, Hades no ult. 3, 4 big ultimates down. And Bell capitalizes. 3 mass past there. Ken walks up, but will just be peeled off. Ivan gets a fist crack down. Ken's very low. Almost a Sky Pierce to stack for free. Banix flickers out of the mount that could have brought him back to the team. Wow. And Homeboys have just baited out all the resources, getting tier 1 mid.
Yep.
Very powerful position that
Homeboys is currently in. And more importantly, so they played that so patiently. Even Vel just hopped onto any of the 3 targets that he pushed back into Team Flash's own jungle, but waited until the very end and got battle spells for it. So the value that we see from Homeboys right now currently is within this next minute and a half. Vanix, though, he has his ult ready. Everybody's got their ult ready, but without those flickers, they can't make significant plays. They need Homeboys to initiate.
It's about the small windows for Team Flash. When their abilities are up, when they can actually go for a fight, a winning one. They need to be very clean with their engage. They can't just randomly go in. I mean, it's visible earlier. They can disengage and engage back so quickly. Cortese has to respect.
Man, the
poke from Mel.
Get
topped up from the side of JPL, and I think that Cortese, the only thing that's making him confident is the fact that he has his Purify available, right? And for now, he wants to walk up, he wants to try and get a reaction, or at least a flicker out of the side of the Homeboys, thinking that he may be able to outplay it. Vanixon as well as MelQT, honestly, pretty close when it comes down to the damage ranking. Not too surprised that MelQT has more. Now, Lord already put down to 1/3 of its HP.
It's going to be a retry battle. Hades forced to go in, but it's just a shield Unity. That's going to be the hard guard as well, but that means Banix is actually pretty free. Ivan, man pinned down now as Amon was forced back there in the back line. McKen fell and Amon out of the fight as now is giving the fist crack desperately. Banix picks up a monster kill. 2 members have to recall. This is a green light for Flash to take the Lord.
And they can't slow
やっぱジョイはね、マーシャルに何にもできないっていう感じになってるね。いいピックだね。まあカウンターだね。
Flash are not going to go for the Lord. What? Amon goes in, finds Achilles, and Ami gets wiped down as well. MelQT kiting, able to flicker around, and attraction pulse not landing. Now Vantage will flicker forward. Mel pops into an nature. Val, can he peel for the marksman? No, he cannot. Cortese with a Sky Piercer, kiting away. Val with a flicker forward. That's a pure fight to get rid of the stacks and to put Val in a tough spot now. It's a mount over to Hades, but Hades just bringing him over towards the base. Another way to roll in Val. Good night, buddy.
Wow. I did not expect Vanix to have so much value, but once again, break through those battle lines, have an Angela on top of you, wins of nature, trade your flickers, doesn't matter. Vanix full item build, and unfortunately for MelQT, no matter how many shots he's landing, the hard guard just tanks so much.
強いね。君はね、もう未だに強いんだよね。ナーフされ。
Flash is can they siege?
I think they put well, I think they can, assuming that Cortese hits a mega ult. He needs to hit a traction pulse. We'll see, right? Because now this Lord almost guarantees them at least 1 inhibitor turret. I don't know how much more they can get after that. 1 is guaranteed, 2 is really, really good. 3 is how did they do it? But let's look at this fight one more time, right? Because as you can see, right, the anchors from the side of the Homeboys get kicked in the chest, and once the wind is knocked out of them, the whole team disperses into multiple different directions. Amal is the only one who's flexible enough to weave in and out.
4人とも1人を習ってたら何にもできないんだよね。
One person at a time, and that's the big problem. He can't control multiple people.
You can see, I mean, at this point, Phil was like, all right, take me. Just take me. You've already won that fight. Homeboys. Just have to defend. They just have to try to bait out some of these big resources over, because really for Team Flash, it's all about those big ultimates. It's all about utilizing one cycle of skills to win out the battle and then to capitalize with objectives.
これ下タワーだね。
Power builds here. Oh, no Wishing Lantern actually purchased from Izanami. Looks for raw sustainability, right? Even a brute force breastplate to try and keep him alive.
No force to flicker out already. Lord charging down, able to get the damage onto the base turret as Kurt TZ constantly goes in. Ken.
いやもう弦波が
Base turret number 1 falling down to the bottom lane as Hades pops into Poisons and the hard guard comes through as well.
なんか弦波集団戦に入ると HP が増えてくる。どういうこと？
Off of those shots, my lord! What is that sustain?
God, just my goodness. Just too much. There's too
何
much
や
to
ろ
get
キ
through.
ャラ
I mean,
マ
you
ジ
think
で。
he's about to go down. Oh, hey, Flash could be
弦波なんかなぜか集団戦に入ると HP が増えてくる。おおおお。
Ken with a flicker forward. Mel QT had it with an nature, and that's going to be one man down.
おっ
Amo!
と
Diving
も
to
し
the
かして
back, finding JPL as well. Amo with a big play. That should be a free triple. No flicker for JPL. He jumps
Otto.
back in just to give another to
Otto.
Homeboys.
エンダーボール
And now it's Team Flash on the back foot. One man, and it's the Leo Moore.
マーシャが
Hey, somebody's got to go back. They got to clear those waves. Two huge waves are starting to collapse from top and bottom into Homeboys' space. While Team
嘘でし
Flash,
ょ
if they can just get rid of that wave, that'd be great. Barriel coming through.
That's a lantern flare over to Vanix. It's a cannon minion. 10 seconds on Ken.
Hey, whoa.
Look at the small caster minion coming down
They're
as well.
not gonna-
Vanix able to clear
Yeah,
one.
bye.
Look at the caster minion. That could have win them the game.
Just absorb,
They need
just
to take this
absorb.
up. They will be able to. No one gets
Ah,
cleared up. 2 seconds
GG.
for Kurt. Ken, can he walk up and clear? No, he cannot. Homeboys.
GG.
Pull off the one straight push against Flash SG.
マジかよ。
No way.
すげえ。
Go
ここだね。え、
Well,
最初の
Flash could be-
ここだったんだね。
Kicking in. Oh, hey, favor is starting to kick in from JPL.
ここでフラッシュして2人に入ろうとしたんだね。これはジョイでこれはグレンジャーやんな。で、ウルトを打って、ここはもう入ってきてるから、ウルト打ってジョイに当たって、ナチュが打ったんだね。で、ナチュの方にウルトが行ったんだ。めちゃくちゃだ。もうめちゃくちゃだ、これ。
Oh, hey, favor is starting to kick in from JPL as
判断
well.
早すぎるでしょ、これ。行くのは。ポンポン。
Ken with a flicker forward. Mel QT had it
これ
with
ね
nature. That's going to be one man down.
HP1 でも減ってないもん、グレンジャー。
Diving to the back, finding JPL as well.
ナチュが
Amo with a big
ナチュつけ
play.
たんだ
That
ね。
should be a free triple. No flicker for JPL. He jumps back in just to give another
そこで終わっちゃ
Homeboys.
った。
And now it's Team Flash on the back foot. One man.
残
And
念
it's
だ
the Leo.
1個だけが、なんかもう本当に
Only times Homeboys were
レイトでワンミス
snuck away a
で
corner.
試合が終わるってい
Easy,
う。
if not force JPL to quickly use his ult as soon as possible.
What a win by Homeboys. A lot of things that Team Flash needs to learn from that one, especially with trying to end and win the series. But congratulations, of course, to Homeboys.
ワン
A
ミスで試合
prolific
が
win
終わるっ
against
て。
a prolific combination now for Team Flash. We're going to toss you on over to Eterna at the stage for an interview with the winning team.
I'm sorry. Izanami, I'm so sorry. I
インタ
accidentally
ビューだ。
called Stormy the Prince of Mages yesterday, but you are the true Prince of
あれ
Mages. I'm
これ
sorry.
キャ
You
スターじゃ
forgive
ないの
me.
ミルコ
It's okay. So I can tell Lefelt to stop like harassing me.
Yeah,
That's okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Once again, congratulations. You're here.
Thank you.
Okay. How was that for you? How was that first experience here at MSC?
I think
初めての MSC どうだったんですかって。
kinda hard because this is my first international after long time not playing in international. So I think a bit nervous and
久しぶりの世界大会だ。
they use their like cheese threat. So yeah, it's a bit hard for our first match.
Oh, so it was a little bit tricky. You were feeling a little bit nervous. Okay, that does make sense
う
because
わ、
I mean,
緊張して
I
る。
think
かわい
a
い。
lot of people were really surprised with the Leomord.
久しぶりの
gold
世界
two
大会で
times
ちょっと
in a
緊張してたっ
row.
て
Did。that surprise you? How did you guys like communicate about that? Were you worried?
Actually, I think yeah, we a bit worried because we never fight like this threat in training. So yeah, a bit tricky and hard for us lah. Yeah, but we can adapt. Yeah, we can adapt to
the meta. So yeah.
That's perfect. That's
なんか
perfect.
久
You guys
々に
handled it really well,
久々に
especially
チー
in
ム
the
まあ
final
なんていうん
bouts
だ
of that previous
久々
game.
に
Now,
世界大会を
Izanami,
出
why
て
do you have Yayo at the
そ
back
の
of your
環境
name?
に
Where did that come
慣れる
from?
の結構難しかったって言ってたいろいろ変わってて
Because I use Yayo in my main account, so why not I use in MSC? Yeah, because
I see.
before we qualify to MSC, I already thinking about I want to use this name.
Oh,
Yeah,
so it wasn't Erpang who was like, you
Yeah.
have to use Yayo at the back of your name.
No.
Okay, so it was a personal choice.
Yeah, he's the one copying me.
Oh, he copied you.
Yeah.
名前が変え
Coach
たんだ
Erpang, be more original. Okay, so flashbacks to last year at MSC, Homeboys was able to actually Homeboys lost to Flash SG. So coming into this, being
去年
able
が
to
フラッシュと
score,
ホームボイス
how does
が
that make you
当たったんだ
feel?
ねそれで
I think
ホームボイスが負けたので今回は勝っただから
happy because we
どんな感じですか
managed
って
to
聞かれ
beat
て
Team Flash, but I think it's still early because after this we will fight either Team Spirit or DFYG. Yeah, so I think both of them is a strong opponent lah for us. Yeah.
Both are very strong contenders. Because
だ
that
から
also brings me to my
その
final
フラッシュと
question.
チームスピリッツ
Izanami, who do you think you're gonna be fighting
ロ
up
シアの
against
チームと
in the upper
戦いた
brackets?
かったって
Um,
リベンジしたかっ
actually, I think both of them is strong, but I think maybe we will fight Team Spirit.
Team
Yeah,
Spirit.
because they got like so
次
many
は確か
experience
に
in international
ロシア
and
対中国
they
やんな
also have a very good player lah. So yeah, I think
チームスピリッツ対
Okay. Izanami thinks that they will be meeting
何やっ
up
たっけ
against Team
あのチーム
Spirit in their next match. So maybe a final
チ
message
ー
to
ム
Team
スピリッ
Spirit.
ツ対
Team Spirit, good luck for your match, and I hope we can fight later.
Hope we can fight. Do you think you'll win?
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, that's fine.
なんだっけ
It's
あの
okay.
中国のチーム
Confidence
なんて
boosts
変な
later,
名前だったよね
backstage. So thank you so much, Prince of Mages.
ちょっと皆さん
Izanami
教えますよ
Yayo. There you go.
ディアンフェン・ヤオ・ワイっていう名前だったんだねディアンフェン・ヤオ・
Great to hear from
ヤオ
Izanami.
ワイ
Yo,
Yeah, yo!
that is his actual name, and that is how it's going to be pronounced moving forward here in MSC.
Yeah, yo.
Team Flash, again, it was just one moment. It was one moment where they slipped, and I think this is a strategy that I hope they continue to carry moving forward. Just refine it a little bit more. I like it. I like it.
I mean, refinement is something because I feel like right now it's uniquely positioned in the
いや
meta game, right? And I
いい
think
ピックだっ
as
た
you
な
heard it
す
from
ごいね
Izanami, the Prince of Mages himself, it was a little awkward to play against, right? You can even tell from LQT is like, oh my god, this guy on a horse doesn't stop. That heart guard makes me do negative damage to him on top of it all.
And when he does, there's a woman coming in, thunderclapping, boom, constantly as
ここだっ
well.
たかな
Luckily for him,
One
こ
more
こだったんだね
time, but this time with an N.
これすごいねこれがハリスがバンされてるから先に上位使ってこれにまあこれにかけてるんだよねアーリーはでまあこれ中盤からでこれを出してロームと EXP がないからこれを出してでフレックスができるにバナンの答えでマーシャ
If you want to
と
go re-
assassins, Sha.
マーシャとレオモルドは
Expected twice.
レオモルドはちょっとさておいてマーシャは上位のために出してるわけなんだよねこれもうどうしようもない何もできない上位はでそれに関して
Oh my lord.
最後に出してくるのはグルー
Lord.
グルーだったよね
Oh no, it's up.
goes
Boxer.
そうだね
Hey, it could go.
でこのグルーは原波のために出してるわけなんだよね原波の1スキのゴロゴロするやつが2スキで止めれるから強いすごいね本当に面白い
Go anyway.
Started to crumble once the pieces started to be rearranged.
Yeah, I think it was just tough because again, that was the big question for us too. You can win the team fights, you can get the lords, but how do you siege in? It was, especially because here we're talking about Curtizi, how he disrespected the range and the engage potential of the other side, but it's also just like you have to walk forward to get the shots on the turret. In the end, it's a lose because you also needed Purify. You can't go Flicker. Maybe he was just wait. At this point, we need to.
すごいね、そのレオモルドゴールドで713で負けたんだよ
And I
ね。
think the only way that Flash SG is able to kind of overcome
それちょっ
that
と
sieging potential
暴
is
露
if they have a whopping lead, which Homeboys did a very good job at kind of mitigating for throughout the game.
Yeah, that's what surprised me. Where moments where I would be thinking, hey, Flash should have like a right 5,000, 6,000 gold lead. Yeah, it's only like 2,000. Like, where's Homeboys getting this farm? How are they still somehow supplementing their gold laner and their jungler? So gotta give credit to Homeboys for that. For Flash SG though, with the lineup that they brought up and what Homeboys brought up, like, was the early game expected? Was it expected that Flash would run away with it and take control, and Homeboys would just try to be mitigating the losses?
I mean, Mimir already called it during the game, right? We were expecting them for first early rotation on that
Late
first
one
turtle,
miss
especially
で
when
や
you're
られちゃうっていうのは
advanced
結
on
構
Barbiel.
辛い
He
よ
really
な。
needs to kind of participate and clear up because he's pretty strong at his first level 4 power spike. And then from that point onwards, it went as expected. They tried to snowball, but I think the thing that we didn't see was the big
日本ってよくあれだね、エスメラルドで使ってるよね。カウンターピックとかもう何もない感じで、もうとりあえず使いましょうみたいな感じになってるよね。
He's not looking for anything crazy, but he does go for the brute force breastplate. He does go for winter crowns. He doesn't even complete
何気に長かったんだね。これ早く終わらなかったっていうのが結構ミスだね。
Yeah, I like it when I see Juices, especially against with the lineup that Flash brought up to the table, building brute force breastplate. It is an understated item pickup. That is an option. Not always the one you want to go for, but with all the crowd control of the opposing side, and you want to be able to pump out just a little bit more damage, it's good.
I just like seeing Juice in.
Same.
Not like the hero to splash art especially. But yeah, I mean in the game, dude, for Flash, it was just all fights really, and like. I think it comes down to just that.
すごいね。ちょっと思ったよりいい試合だった。面白かった。で、次はあれだな。ロシア対中国。チームスピリッツ、キットボンバっていう人が出てくるんだよね。ヒコ。ゴールドレーナーのヒコ。
If they get a big fight, they win. If not, then
Yeah, with all that discussed, I think it's time now to see who the Sony match MVP is from. I don't know. I didn't get a spoiler. It's MelQT on the Granger.
Interesting. I mean, throughout the games, yes, MelQT has been pretty consistent.
234
Obviously, I
で
think he had it
MVP
the worst when it comes down to like, what is this cheese pick supposed to do to me? And I think he felt it, and that's why now on that Granger, he felt a little bit more comfortable. And then he forgot, oh man, I haven't seen like a Leomord 6 items at hard guard. Like, man, I really can't do much.
That felt like a game for a Granger where it's like, I'm just gonna try to farm, man. I'll just do whatever I can, find whatever I can get, and get it. And congratulations
こ
to
れ
him
ね
for getting the Sony
ヒコって名前がいるんだけ
of
ど
the match.
日本人ではなくて
MVP in the game, there are also some
ロシアの人
surprises.
17歳
MSC event
意味わからん
ongoing right now. The support chest is up
17歳
for all of the way up until August
どういう
7th.
こ
So
と
for only 20 diamonds, you could draw the luxury
20
reward.
diamonds?
Wow! Returning MSC skin Atlas Rune Sentinel, plus your first 3 openings, guarantee you a Crystal of Aurora and Banner of Morale. That's not all. Up to 1,000 MSC coins could be yours too by the MSC support chest.
すごいね未成年でもうこういう
Also potentially get the pass
大会にも
that
出
way.
てて
I did it. I just dumped all my diamonds and got the pass right away.
2008年に生まれたんだよ
You gotta roll for
2008
it. You gotta
diamonds, man.
double
be nice.
diamonds.
Yeah, I mean sometimes you just gotta go like
17の時って
to get what you want.
俺何してたんだろう
That is it
17
for our first match. Once again, this is Group B day, the second day of the MSC
普通に多分
2025 stage here at the Esports World Cup.
家でコールオブデューティーやってたかな
So don't go anywhere. We'll be
こ
right
の
back.
人
We'll
も
see
世
you.
界大会出てるのに俺がもうコールオブデューティーやってたわお家でく2008年ちょっと前じゃんちょっと君おかしいねちょっと君おかしいね日本はエースメハイアルどう思います日本はねどうなんだろうねエスメは強くはない、弱くはないんですけどあれなんですよねエスメは基本カウンターピックで選ぶキャラなんですよねだからそのどの試合でも例えば最初のピックとか 最初のピックでとかエース目使うんじゃなくてカウンターとして使うキャラなんだけど、まあ刺さるときはめちゃくちゃ強いんですけど、なんか全ての試合に使うキャラではないんですよ。止めれるのは簡単ですからね。そんなにむずくはないんですよ。例えばカウンターが多分知らないからじゃない？フォビウスで止めれるし、バダンも止めれる。あとゾーンでも止めれる。だからそこまで強くはないでカウンターで使われてる感じなんで、ね、なんで日本で流行ってるのかちょっとわからないですね。でも結構見るね。フルパで結構最初の方でエスメとかね、なんか大会とかでよく使われてる感じなんで。2008年ちょっと前じゃんってもう約20年前なんだけど、大丈夫？大丈夫？エース目はね、多分日本でよく使われてるのは止め方がわからないからだと思いますね。
Level up your gaming experience with over 8 billion playlists only on Spotify.
いくらなんでもフォビウスとかバダンとかはシールドがあるから、いやあんまり良くはないって思われがちなんですけど、バダンで十分止めれますね。2スキが当てるだけでエース目がスペルを使わなきゃいけないんですよね。だエース目を止めるっていうことだけを考えたら、もうあのキャラがすぐ終わってまうっていう感じなんですよ。自由にやらせるから多分止めにくいんかな、見た感じだと。その日本の大会とかね。
For years, MLBB has crowned many champions. But this year, what if we start the story into the unknown? The unknown calls, the brave answers. This will be one wild ride to Riyadh.
それは2期配信してきます。後で遊びに行くわ。
The battleground starts long before the draft. Four-time MPLPH champions, 2 world titles, multiple MVPs, the GOAT. And never forget, the underdog who rose from the shadows, now holding the first ever MWI gold. 2 champions, 2 paths, 1 game, 1 pride.
でも負けたよね。すごいこの女の子の大会も結構面白かったねんな。MWI ナビ PH が世界チャンピオンでなんか勝ったんだよね。アメリカのチームが勝ったんかな。で最後の方にビタリティっていうインドネシアだったかな。インドネシアのチームが優勝したんだけど、あれも結構おもろかったな。もう女の子をやってるんだけど、もう PS は男、もう男以上だった。びっくり。
When Cubia calls, the world answers. The odds never favored them, but they made history anyway. Every journey, like the game itself, unpredictable, a leap into the unknown. From the very edge of the world, drawn by one game.
でもすごいね、いいね、この女の子の大会もあるっていうのが面白い。日本もやってほしいな、女の子だけの大会とか。難しいね、日本だと。
The first time since MSC 2022, RRQ returns to this stage to try and find the crown that they have been trying to really get for a very long time now, and they are going to be facing off against North America's Area 77, an unexpected competitor to our stage. Could be a very interesting one leading up to the match. My name is Renmar, here with Gideon and Mirko. Still, now, by the way, just in case you forgot, we still got tickets available for our knockout stages happening later on. So please go ahead, get your tickets. Not going to be able to join us for the group stage, but don't forget, knockout stage tickets are available. We're here until August 2nd. That is the grand finals day for MSC 2025. Now, RQ versus Area 77.
もうこれが、あ、もう後ろ座ってるやん、
I feel like
選手が。
we are all very aware right now of what potentially to expect here, considering the experience of one organization against the other, the sudden rise of Area 77 into the stage. Though hungry as they are, I don't doubt them with really wanting to get a good result here, but it's a harsh start that they're going to be going up against RRQ.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, and considering that, you know,
Oh,
the
今来てんだ、
Kingdom of Saudi
RRQ.
Arabia has honestly been so good to us, allow RRQ to set foot and face off and try to redeem a crown that, again, has
こ
eluded
れ
them
サウ
so
ジアラビアと
often. So many
時差
second
は
place
どの
finishes,
ぐらい
so
な
many
の？
times that they've been knocked out early on.
結構昼だったよね。
Fans
あ、
across the world just like,
時差。
when is it going to happen? When is it their time?
It brought up narrative of them being literally just the local
サウジアラビアでは6時間があるんだ。6時間違うんだ。
fighting against that narrative. They're fighting to prove
つまり向こうには午後2時なんだ
I
ね
would。say out of the two Indonesian teams, this is the scarier one in the group stage. They're so good at the systematic playstyle, fighting for just orthodox meta picks in the early game for the first few neutral objectives.
6時間の差があ
So
るん
let's
だ。
dig deep a little bit more into the roster of RRQ to see what to expect. And there are two names I'm going to be looking out for here, though they are filled with stars in their own right. I feel like as much as I really love the all rotations, the macros and everything.
いいね、
Rins
これ。
and
面白い。
Epoch are really the center
RRQ。
point for RRQ.
Absolutely. I think this team is definitely, with the addition of their coach, Kezkyut has done a phenomenal job at like reforming this team
あれ
and
次
turning them
RRQ じゃないよね。
into a game style that is highly dependent
あれ
on their execution in the earlier stages of the game. We've talked about them being a little bit more adaptable. We've seen them in their regular season during MPL ID where we did see the adaptability actually come and shine through a little bit.
Yeah, I think for RRQ again.
次中国のチームじゃないの？
So many of their
な
mistakes in
ん
the
で
grand finals, and I think they even use that to improve their game. Been hearing a lot of people just saying this team is looking to really conquer MSC this time around. They're doing really good apparently in scrims too. So we'll see just how good they are. Because we've been talking about this even in MPL ID. Sutsujit, better on utility picks. Hey, it's the utility meta right now.
Yeah. When you
これアメリカのチームやん。
77, remember the story of RRQ. I feel like now they are also similarly to RRQ, a
あ、
team
ちょっと待って。
with a lot of pressure
ちょっと
of
待って。
expectation on their
アメリカの
shoulders. Well,
ちょっと
for
待って
them,
アメリカのチームなんだけど顔がさ全員フィリピン人なんだけど。
but I don't doubt that Joy Bodge and
え、ちょ
ISO
っと待って見てみよう。
who actually qualified for MC 2023 but were unable to attend due to travel complications.
嬉しい。
They're
こ
gonna
れ
be the
この
focal
人だ
point
けが
here
フィリ
for
ピン
this
か。
squad, and especially I also want to add a little bit more there onto Ureshi.
全員全員フィリピンの顔してた。
in that role.
I mean, I think, you know, for Area 77, a lot of these members, you may even recognize some of these players' names, especially from some big NA
ロシアの試合見たかったのに。
these are the people that they naturally meet because the server is relatively small, and especially at the highest level, these are the names that you'll naturally pair up against in those pubs.
Yeah, it's the same few dudes you see in NA. Again, their community is so small that they can just go and play together every single time. It's almost like a band of boys, just always meeting each other up in the tournament. So that's good in a way where they learn so much from each other. They talk to each other. They're always, you know, just voice comment together as well, playing together whenever someone's inactive. That should be a way for Area 77 to utilize synergy at least. And I would say they're the unknown right now. RQ might not have a lot of preparation for A77.
Yeah, I think that's a good angle to look at.
Yeah, これはちょっとね。
Area 77 knows more about RQ than RQ knows more about Area 77. That could be a factor that could play into here. But then I feel like that applies just a little bit more
これはちょっと厳しいね。
When you look about it in game, when you look at the region of NA, and even if you take a glimpse of the finals that they competed in heading into MSC, it's clear they love those pickoffs.
Yes.
But RQ is that type of team that, yeah, they love the pickoffs too, but they're always so good at the long counter engage that comes after a team fight initiated by your opponents.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? I think that right now, it's going to be the litmus test, right? RRQ is probably going to be... I don't know whether they're going to go that far in terms of, like, we're going to get a really disrespectful draft. We're going to just out-mechanic you, that sort of thing, like we saw from SRG OG Esports yesterday. And I think that Kescute, once again, is going to come into play saying, hey, I'll give you a decent draft. Y'all figure it out from there. Let's see how far we can go, and especially if Area 77 shows some form of resistance, then you gotta, you know, flip the switch, turn into those killers that we know them to be.
Now I'm just hoping that A77 doesn't play too safe, right? That's their edge, being unknown. So maybe go for some crazy picks here in the group stage to snatch a win from under RRQ.
Yeah, try to go fast. I mean, we saw a glimpse of that when Ultra Legends went up against Team Liquid Philippines. That, yes, against some of the best teams in the world, you can still rattle them in the early game. You can still bring that surprise. The question is how well you do from the 6 to 8 minute mark to transition that on over to an even more
なんか最近アメリカでよくなんか話題になってたね。バンされてどうのこうのっていう感じで。
They go for their jawhead in this very first game because that's their signature aggro pick in the roam.
本当は BTK 出る予定だったんだけど、エリア何これ77か77の人が急に変わって出ることになって、結構ごちゃごちゃになってたね。
All right. So as we head into the draft, we're going to play a quick little game here that I totally did not think of just now. So I'm going to name a player from RRQ Hoshi, and I want you to name the hero that first comes to your mind. Okay. All right. So you guys have to go quick with it right away once I give it. E-Doc.
もう始まってるよ。
Franco.
Okay, no, we're in the draft. Never mind.
よくわからない。これコーチがないんだよね。
Okay, here we are. Farsa Kalea Juicin. So RQ are respecting the pickoff style that A77 could go for while A77 are going for those heroes when you think about counter engage and macro and aggression.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's interesting, right? Lance, sure, I kind of get it here. But also this early on, what is the hard prediction for the side of Area 77? Now, RRQ, standard opening, right? Go for the Boxia opener. Now you get 1-1, but you also make sure that you get the Phobias. This does open up an opportunity for maybe Area 77 to say, hey, let's get a winning lane. But instead, no, they're going to double down on reinforcing that mid lane.
Yeah, I think this is so good so far. Like RRQ, this is literally what we've been talking about for RRQ, right? Even in the grand final.
てか、はやぶさ誰も選ばなくなったの。
Die on a comfort pick, you get the prio pick on Toy, which is right now 1-1 on Granger. This is the RRQ template. They're not trying to prove anyone, like, to try to prove the doubters wrong by saying, yeah, okay, we're just going to play with our strengths. Doesn't matter now.
Gordon Kescute strikes again.
Yes, sir. Gordon Kescute Wayne.
No, I mean last year it was Kescute, Bruce Kescute Wayne, and now at this point we'll see what Kescute is going to be, cooking up later down the line in terms of evolution for the team. Because again, he likes to keep things template. He likes to keep things extremely structured, something that his team can keep on following and most importantly reproduce every single time.
Yeah, you can see that A77 is a little bit quicker on the
これなんだこれありなんだよね。でもここにアサシン入れるのは悪くはないんだよね。硬い中盤から始まって
They're not trying anything too spicy here. They're just going with the flow.
この2人のメイジがバンされて何選ぶんだろう。
They have their work cut out for them, but I feel like I'm okay so far with what I'm seeing with the bans and the drafting picks.
Honestly, the bans and the picks are just so honest from the side of RRQ. It's just like, here are cores, you know exactly where they're going. Here's a couple of counter picks we're going to get out of the way. Now what do you do? And Area 77 has decided to go with the Akai this time around. Akai EXP, I would assume, into the Phobias?
Yeah. I think it is going to be the Akai XP. So RRQ, they already have the Phobias, and that should be a winning lane. Before level 4 should be pretty good, so they could just go. I would say no. There's no Valentina.
これがロームのジャングルでしょ。ジャングルローム EXP。
What's up in mid? Everything's banned.
でこれミド。これがめっちゃいいピックやわ。こいつこれに。
You said Franco, I said Tigro. No one said Cho.
Yeah, nobody said Cho here this time around. Like, interesting why they want to go for the pickoff, especially when there's like a Kai
これ
on top of
いい
like
ピ
the
ックやんな
AOG from
まあ安定のグレンジャー
Gathot. We finally
これ
get
が
the final pick
い
being
い
in the
感じ
gold lane. It's
の
gonna be Granger from
パンダが
Area
フォビウス
Interesting
には強
sight
い
of the composition.
で
RQ
ノバリア
seems
が
very standard with
パン
the
ダに
only
は
thing
強い
that's lacking being like a consistent amount of damage
いいね
from their mid lane. But hey, it's big burst, and more importantly, it opens up the map. So that way, Area 77 might not be able to go for those big flanks that we're looking for with the Akai.
Yeah, same thing for Ace 77. I feel like their lineup actually puts an insane amount of pressure on the Lancelot and Granger to get a good game here. So let's see how it fares out for them. It's RRQ versus Area 77 for this game number 1. Who's gonna take it? Well, right now, Gideon and Mirko are taken away from me.
Thank you, Ranmar. All right, this is the very first time we're seeing a new representative from North America, and they must fight against the faithful, some may say the strong, but the most consistent team making it into the internationals, RRQ. It's not going to be difficult to try and knock down the pillar here of MSC 2025 here at the Esports World Cup. Live in Riyadh, RRQ will be facing off against Area 77. RRQ on blue, Area 77 on the red.
RQ playing the orthodox draft, just going for what works with their own playstyle. Except, I would say, the Cho. This is a bit new. We've seen it, I believe, in SPS in the group stage as well. But even in ID, this is a rare sight to see Edok on a pick like this. Usually, he does go pick off sometimes, but it's more Francos. And, good steal from Rins.
And already RRQ just making it known to Area 77 that this is their territory. But I do agree with you. It's kind of strange to see Edok on this Cho. He definitely prefers like safer pickoffs. But so far, Area 77 are playing their lanes well as of this time. Now, I am curious about the EXP because it looks like Ureshi is kind of beating down on Dyron up on that top side, trying to use that base damage early on top of the timings of his concussive blast to try and generate an advantage.
Yeah, but Dyron, you can see
that he's just gonna
freeze this wave. Shiro walks up, able to get the XP crab, but won't be level 4, so he has to rotate all the way down below now.
He can't invade as well. He knows that Cho is lingering somewhere in the river. And I think that so far, so good, right? Area 77 have to take their time.
マジでサイドレーンは普
How this
通だね
composition is going to try and break down the battle lines of RRQ. Again, it's highly dependent on whether Shiro is able to find a pick off. And more importantly, so Ureshi gets that huge flank. We'll see, because again, Hunter is still it's still possible to use the Fury of the Phoenix, not only for utility, but more so just for raw vision before they make a choice.
So it's all about mid-prio now. Shiro rotating into the mid lane. Rins getting level 4 first. The Hunter follows through pretty quickly as well. Battle for Turtle. Sutsujin is the one to start things off first, holding on to it. Dyron level 4, rotating as well. That's a massive Astral Echo landing on 3. Phantom Execution from Shiro there. Joybot getting taught now. It's a 4-man stun. But Edok now is going to be brought back by spin. Dyron constantly jumping in front of pursuit now over to Hunter. Looking for more. Dark Wave landing. But it's only onto Ureshi. Dyron taken down. Ureshi with first blood. RQ with a turtle.
Nicely done from Area 77. Honestly, I think that Shiro played it extremely well. Adjusted on the fly. Notice the immediate disengage from that turtle from RRQ side, but still managing his stacks well so we can dash out of there. Toy and as well as ISO, definitely this match has been played multiple times, whether you're in pubs or even in screams or scrims. It's pretty straightforward, but then we start to need to look as RRQ needs to find bigger conversions, right? Sutsujin does find the first advantage in that turtle. Does have a slight EXP lead, but even so, Shiro is losing basically nothing.
An attempt from Edok trying to go for the way to dragon there, but won't be able to get.
マジでこうやって見るとノバリアめちゃくちゃ強いんだよね。
Taunt from Joybot, but yeah.
でもなかなかニスキが当たらないっていう。
Comes down to the same thing that we've been seeing from them in the majority of MPLID games. It's just playing for neutral objectives, then going back, getting prio from Edok, rotating for Toy. Now it's crucial for Toy to be winning the gold crab fight, and it just hasn't been happening. ISO with the Rhapsody.
I mean, he has a little bit of an EXP lead thanks to Sutsujin being that homie of securing down the turtle. Ureshi is trying to freeze on his side, knowing that Dyron definitely has a bigger advantage, but more so, even if Ureshi tries to get on top of Dyron and commits to the heavy spin, pin him against the wall, he just doesn't have enough damage. The only way for this lane to go bad for Dyron is if he's a little silly boy and gets underneath the turret.
Silly boy.
Just a little silly boy.
Maybe he doesn't even need to be a silly boy. What if Ureshi pushes him in, right? Because sometimes that could happen too.
I mean, that's what's happening right now. He's getting the pushback on that wave, and Area 77 right now playing. Whoa, how deep is Edok in enemy territory? Wow, very deep.
Great angle of attack. ISO. Wow. He waited away the dragon so long that ISO was waiting for the Purify, and he just never got the opportunity to tap it. He died before that. Sutsujin now all baits away the retry, and it is going to be a free turtle.
At this point, should RRQ say, we don't actually need this turtle, we can actually go and look to, hurt the economy of Area 77 by putting Shiro behind even further. But no, they're so objective-oriented. They're not moving away from KezCute's plan. Secure those neutrals, move, and make sure they're playing for their strong side. Because look at this, right? They're trying to position themselves in a way that tells Area 77, hey, we could potentially be diving ISO. So Hunter and as well as Joybot have to reactively move there. And now, once again, the holes in the defense show, and Edok sneaks in a little bit deeper. Oh my god, it's so deep in there.
Yeah, this is not a 1v1 you win, Shiro. Maybe in late game, but in the early to mid, it is all Phobius to win this one. And man, I mean, Shiro's trying his best to just take that farm. Edok able to get Jikundo out in the Astral Echo, landing on 3. Good shot over with the Star Shatter.
Okay, no ults being committed from the side of Area 77. They chunked out Edok without having to commit too much to it, which is actually great. They got to make sure that they're constantly clearing out their jungle, because this is starting to become a very obvious pattern. They see the initial movement, and then they place Edok in one of the open holes in Area 77's defense, and mostly in their jungle. For now, Rins, he's starting to run out of mana. At some point, he's going to have to recall, especially if he consistently is getting into these fights from afar. Look at the position, right? They're even getting Ureshi here, knowing that ISO is going to be the main target.
Respect from Toy. Very, very good there. Even though he's going to lose a cannon minion, he knows that something was up. The fact that ISO is shooting out the Windtalker. Oh, away the dragon. Needed out the heavy spin. That's what you want. Now the purple buff should be open to contest for Sutsujin. Joybot walks out. It's jumping onto the wall, but it's okay. Retry battle. Shiro who secures the purple. But RQ are not pushing the base in the bottom lane. Almost a solo. AOG from Joybot to provide the peel, the cover necessary for ISO to recall.
そうこれがね、青チームはね、もう簡単で言うと、そのパンダのウルトだけを使わせればいいっていう感じだから、あとは自由に入れる。
So many times at this point, he's only keeping up with Shiro. It's actually Shiro who actually has a little bit of EXP tempo on him because of the movements that we've seen across the map. Now, Dairen should be able to walk down towards with the help of the river to go down and quickly join this potential fight from Turtle's side. However, Ureshi has shown himself.
Great taunt over to Edok now. Also, a stun over. That's going to be the knockup from Ureshi to get the kill over to Edok. Now, Toy walking out. The crossbow tank going to be ready. Translates over with the help of the rest of the team. Ureshi taken low. He gets away. It's another 1-for-1 in a low action game.
うまいね、このタートルを 50-50 にしないという感じで、ちゃんとタートル前に、HP 減らしたらいいかなという感じで。
I'm not sure if he got that crab on that last one, but even so, he is able to slowly scale up without taking too much damage. Let's look at the fight one more time, right? Because again, Edok, I would say a little crazy of him, opening up that map.
琥珀ウルトで当たってもう終わるっていう感じでもう上に行ってくる。メイジが上のカバーするの早いんだよね。
That's a retreat from Shiro again, securing the purple buff. Another big Astral Echo, and as this continues to land, they will have constant vision on A77. Just look at the tempo they have on the map.
Yeah.
It's 2-2, 2,000 gold lead. But it feels like with the tempo they have, it almost feels like it's 4 or 5k gold lead.
It does. I mean, the level leads especially coming down. 1 from Toy, 2 from Rins as well. And I think that right now, Rins, he's utilizing his advantage nicely. He already completed the lightning truncheon.
上を見たらなんか2対2で。
There you go. Almost all of the weakness points. Good move by Shiro. He still gets
2対2でなんか2000ゴールドしかなかったんだけど、なんか試合を見るとなんか RRQ がすごいアドバンテージ持ってるんだねっていう。
And not even a trade down below. The minions, can they do it? No, Toy's rotating.
He'll be able to make it there in time. Actually, wait, I mean, the wave is
1000ゴールド、メイジも1000ゴールドぐらい。あとは一緒だね。
But let's look at the items so far, because that's 3 items already complete. Like, Toy has a majority of the gold advantage here, and now this is the time where you're expecting RRQ to kind of, step on the gas.
Oh my lord. Oh, Shiro with the puncture, now onto Rins as well. Thorn Rose and a Path of Execution, but that should be it in terms of firepower. Sutsujin running him down. Big hitbox on him. Sutsujin will constantly land those big shield throws. Shiro gets away, but RQ get tempo up top and again deny a
紅白止めれるのは誰
He's leveled down on
パンダぐらい
Sutsujin. Now RRQ really pouring
あ、パンダ見え
gasoline.
た
Hopefully they don't smother the fire just yet. They need it to turn into a roaring flame. Area 77, it's clear that they've got mechanics, right? They know how to push buttons, but they're waiting for that big mistake. Here comes E-Dog.
Passive already. Hunter brought back again, by the way,
パンダが
Dragon
ま
now
た
cancel, but
ウ
heavy
ルト
spin
使った
already as Diamond walks up. Has the stack unit for the pursuit, but the heavy spin shoves them back. Ureshi's too low. The's no heavy
簡
spin.
単なロード
They
で
baited
す
big resources.
これ
Almost
が
a
ただ
star
RRQ
shadow
の
Rins.
試合なのだからパンダのウルトを使わせてオブジェを取って押していくという感じ
More cleaner disengage from Area 77.
簡単なゲームだ
Disengaging doesn't win you games, right? We haven't seen significant plays from the side of Area 77 to try and crack open RRQ. These neutral objectives have fallen into the hands of RRQ when it's going exactly the way they want to. A clean 4K lead, and now we see that Area 77 are forced to kind of stick together to look for neutral objectives. More importantly, getting rid of these structures. Once we see mid-tier 1 collapse,
AOG into the sun with a shield unity. Turret down below falling to a tier 2. Shiro, Thorn Rose to evade from the Jikundo, and finally our Area 77 gets a trade. But when it happens, RQ get a better trade-off, like with a turret tier 2 down below.
I mean, sure, but like tier 2s on the sidelines is basically free econ, right? What's another extra 200, 300 goal over to RRQ when they already have that 4K lead? Area 77 using the AOG to try and protect this mid-tier 1 was probably the better option rather than putting themselves in a compromised position.
Sutsujin is just running laps around A77 right now as Toy continues to push on the pace. That's a retribution and Thorn Rose! Crossbow tank ready, popped in, Inspire over! Reshi fallen! No, he has the flicker, gets him out to safety just in time. One last shot would have done it. A tier 1 turret falling in the mid lane and RQ.
いやこれどうしようもない
Well played by Toy. He was expecting the clear. He was expecting the iframes to come up pretty quick from the side of Shiro and really takes full advantage before launching that crossbow of Tang. And with that being said, a man down, RRQ are looking to go for these inhibitors. The holy shield are collapsing all across the board.
Fury of the Phoenix over, Tyrant taken low, but there's really just no more threat. That's another big structure taken down by RRQ, and it's a big one.
もうこれがただのいじめ
That's the far lane for the next neutral objective. A77 were already struggling to contest. Now it's going to be even tougher.
Yeah, no, I think right now the only way that Area 77 is looking to win this game is if RRQ make a mistake when it comes down to these neutral fights, right? That's why we're seeing that. Oh my god, the damage.
Half HP, brother man. Oh! Walks up, somehow Sutsujin gets the kill with a shield thrown his way. Ureshi falling for the first time this game.
Oh, he got melted down. There's too much percentage damage. Look at Ritz's damage. He's literally tripling the lobby in terms of just raw damage.
のダメージが
And now the siege,
54,000
here we
ど
go.
ういうこと
Look at that. Again, Fury of the Phoenix coming down to try to defend Hunter. Almost caught by the Star Shatter there. Toy gets another base
いやもう
turret.
これもういじめやん
Oh man, RQ.
If we're talking about medieval warfare, the traditional sieges, RRQ top tier when they've got the right tools. They've got a trebuchet in Rins, a strong arm to throw Area 77 underneath the bus if they walk up too closely. And even if they're not close to the bus comes to them.
Oh my lord, that damage from Rins. We haven't seen Novaria at all this tournament. The one time we see it, it's a nuke Varia.
Oh my goodness. They're going through the medieval ages really fast. Dark ages are collapsing. No more trebuchets. Give him a hand cannon. They're gonna fight again.
Again, trying to go for the Radiant Dragon. Oh, Reshi taken out by the Star Shatter. Diamond
Yeah,
taking a few shots in. Sutsujin walks up with the help of the conceal from E-Dog and will be there to body block in case it's necessary. Free Lord to RRQ.
Look at this, just perfect macro coming in from the side of RRQ. They understand they've set the line in the sand, and Area 77 must not disrespect it. Shiro's gonna try here. He's got the mechanics and he's gotten out of really tight positions before, but a single shot from a max range Star Shadow from Rins really makes all the difference. Not to mention that if they stand too close together, unfortunately the AoE plus an extra from the Lightning Truncheon makes all the difference. 50% gone just like that.
Man, 2,500 gold lead for Toy. Full items almost. Has a Magic Blade, very close to a Rose Gold Meteor. He's gonna shred, like even without the crossbow attack. Actually, I'll be surprised if he gets a crossbow attack. He might actually melt people before he can get the crossbow attack done.
Yeah, he is pretty far ahead in the game right now. It's kind of ridiculous, but
both the carries. Talk about targeting now. Shiro walks up, Rins with a flicker out. That's a big AOG that lands. Oh no, that's Shiro in the front. Timer is holding it own. Toy looking for the damage just with the basic attacks again. No crossbow attack, no problem. Toy dishing out crit damage and RRQ with a 10,000 gold lead. Get the job done.
Oh my goodness. I think this is what the Indonesians call whenever they see Rins throwing out another Star Shatter just to be like, Bismillah headshot, man. He is landing them. It's God-given.
No tolling around at all for RRQ, and that went as expected. Honestly, like with what was brought to the table and what we mentioned earlier, so much pressure for the Lancelot and Granger to win at their respective roles. But when you're up against a mid laner who can nuke you from afar, see where you are, empowered by a jungler who will like, I'm here, there's like barely nothing much you can do to me right now. I'm a Baksha.
もう試合終わったって顔してますもん。あれもう試合終わりました？
To not lose.
So
there's a couple of times in the game, especially during neutral objectives, where they could have tried to force a play. But that's the problem, right? When RRQ know they can kind of hunker down and wait for their opponents to make that move, that's the big issue, right? They just need to win one fight, and then they hold that tiny lead, and it's in the compound interest afterwards. Like this fight right here, right? This is the first time we see that RRQ go into the faces. They're like, okay, Shiro can try and take this turtle. We're going to reset it, and now we're going to go back into the fight. Obviously, Dairon made a little bit of a mistake, you know, holding a little longer than he probably should, like Flicker early. Even so, it is a winning scenario for RRQ.
Yeah, really tough here for Area 77 to pull this off. Again, they drafted into the more demanding lineup, while RQ, as textbook as it is, I mean, it's the easier lineup to pull off. You know the beats that you need to hit. There isn't some clear, obvious conditions. You can
この最初のタートルがなんかもうレベル差が分かりますね。この最初のタートル、ここでも差が分かる。なんかこれでもうノバリアがウルト使ってもうこれが入ってきてもうみんな入っていく形で、でもこっちはもう見えてる。これ入ってこれでなんかこれ多分 RRQ の頭の中ではなんかランス入ってきたんだな。これが多分おそらくタートル行くんだろうなという感じで、じゃあだったらタートル放置しましょうってなってノバリアがタートルから出て、でランスがここにいろいろ食らって結局どっか行く。はい、もう逃げました。じゃあタートルやりましょうっていう感じのあれだね。すごいね。すごすぎる。早い判断が。ここノバリアがタートル持ってますね。ノバリアがこの HP 半分のタートルを持ってるんで、ここでランスが入って、もうランスが入ってくるんだ、じゃあ放置しましょうってなってノバリアが出て、そこからじゃあランスがいなくなって、はい、じゃあタートルやろうっていう。もうここでレベル差が分かってくるわ。やってることがシンプル。
Yeah, I mean, it also reflects in their builds. Like, Dairon initially didn't go for the War Axe straight away. He was actually building components into the anti-cuirass as well as the Radiant armor. Then after he finished his second item, they realized, like, wait, hold on, we just have to sustain, and then Rins is already getting, like, a gigantic lead. I just need to live. I don't even need to be that tanky in the first place. So that's when he decides to get the War Axe.
Yeah, it's really like not the build that people go for nowadays. Even in ranked, people just go for Thunderbelt. But if you're winning that hard and you can just sustain, and the game was like 3 turtles to RRQ, a 4,000 gold lead with that looked more like an 8K gold lead. there was not much you could do wrong in the item builds.
And looking at what Area 77 eventually drafted into after seeing the fact that there's a boxer on the other
なん
side.
か焦りがなかったねんな。普通に冷静に判断して冷静にやっただけ。
Because there wasn't like a direct answer to the Baksha in terms of disrupting his flow. It was more of just like, see what we can draft to make sure that ISO, Shiro, and maybe even Hunter doesn't die. It was just like, let's see if we can just hold on long enough to hit our power spikes and whatnot. It's more reactive than it is proactive.
It is, and more importantly, so in terms of like raw execution, in terms of like high mechanics, it's really down to like Shiro on this Lancelot and as well as Ureshi to try and make these plays. Everybody else just presses one button to try and either disengage or really punish the mistakes that RRQ are going to show. But that's why it's such a big difference in philosophy, because KSQ is so high on
強いね。
hey,
やっぱり
you gotta
アメリカ
play
と
to
ア
the
ジアの
structure, you
差
have
だ
to
ね。
execute perfectly. Here are the things that you have to worry about from Area 77. So far, it's so clear that this opposing philosophies work so much better for RRQ.
Yeah, they were literally just playing for PL. 4 heroes out of 5, except Lancelot. Yeah, were just PL heroes. They wanted to kite back. They wanted to punish on mistakes, but expecting RRQ, such a systematic team, you actually have a better chance of hoping for Onyx ID to make a mistake. Like, they're the ones that actually push forward when they have a lead. RRQ, they're like, no, it's okay. We're fine with 2K. We'll just build off more minions, cutting you off, blah, yada yada. And for Area 77, it wasn't what we expected. Like, they need to just go in game number 2. Get rid of the safety. It's all
これ
right.
なんかあれだな。
They got nothing to lose.
Yeah, I think a lot of more
これ
people
全然
are
前
gonna
に
be
出なかっ
able
たんだ
to
よね。
see
ちょ
the
っと
pros
結構
of your gameplay
ビビ
if
っ
you're
た
just
感じで
aggressive.
プレイ
Even
をしてたみたいな
though
ね。
people would say, oh, it's a little bit throwy. At least we saw you try to be proactive instead of
Exactly.
just trying to react to everything that RQ throws at you. And because of all of that, Toy was left to just farm, get gold,
い
deal
やもうえ
damage.
ぐい。
Nothing could stop this
もう
1-1
前に
from
出
just
な
being
い。
able to get up in the air.
Yeah, and I mean, not to mention that these, again, against RRQ, they're very good at taking small incremental leads and really squeezing a lot of value out of it, like really milking it. Like Rins was getting so much value. You could see that his lead against Hunter eventually ended up being a 2-level lead on top of a whopping amount of gold. And Toy, I think that he could honestly try to make solo plays of his own, but he just remembers if he makes a mistake, SQ is just like, hey, you know what happens here. Big backhand.
アメリカのチームは多分
Well,
That's
we're
true.
not
He's
going to be
very
seeing
strict.
that.
なんか
After
反応
the
しよう
result
と
of
してた
game
んだよ
number
ね
one, and,
RRQ
I
に
think right now,
RRQ
unless
これを
we see
やるんだったら
some
俺らはこっちをやってい
changes
くみたいな
from
感
the
じなん
side
だ
of
けど
Area 77 that we might just be
無理だな。
walking out of this matchup and this series with a sweep. And I think the second game, again, if nothing too crazy happens in terms of the draft and the strategy changes, then it's just going to be more of the same. It's just like a slow whittling down and realization of Area 77 where the map is getting smaller. Next thing you know, those little risks that you were willing to take in the early game, it's just massive risks at that point in the mid game. So let's see if Area 77 is going to be able to switch things up and find a way to draft through RQ Hoshi. Maybe just a little bit more proactiveness, maybe just a little bit more picks that are aggressive might be the difference maker here for Area 77. What's going on behind the scenes? Like, what are you guys seeing?
I'm seeing that Kesku currently has taken the
He's a
position of
player.
Rins. He is the mid laner right now. He's like, Rins, you're young. Come on, just stand up for a second.
Yeah, all right. So if you want us to understand RQ a little bit more, well, we have a story on their journey here, heading into MSC at EWC.
何これ RRQ kah?
Dari tim RRQ. Perjalanan gua buat masuk ke EWC ya awal mulanya ya dari MDL. Gua masuk MDL dari season 8 sampai season 10.
いや強いな
Habis itu gua bisa naik MPL di season 15. Terus bisa dibilang debut pertama kali di MPL bisa dibilang mulus dan itu membuahkan hasil lah sampai
RRQ はちょっとね無理だと思うけど勝ってほしいね
Kalau buat ketemu sih gue pengen
Kono
ketemu
Taikai
di
jitai ga?
ID dan PH karena yang di SL Malai tim gue dipulangin sama Onyx PH dan di SL Indo tim gue juga dikalahin sama Onyx PH and di grand final season 15 tim
なんか
gua
毎
kalah
回
juga
毎
lawan
回
Onyx
出て
ID.
毎回負けちゃうんだよね
Perasaan gue main di EWC tentu senang. Untuk pelajaran yang gue ambil dari lawan Onyx di grand final itu udah pasti mental. Karena kalau misalnya mental kita nggak kuat ya gamenya nggak bakal bisa berjalan mulus lah. Jadi mental yang paling penting.
毎回出て負ける。心折れないチーム。
Really good for them. They played a very clean game. They didn't give any mistakes, a lot of openings for Area 77 to capitalize on. And yeah, I think it's gotten to this point now. It's just we're waiting for the draft. We discussed what A77 needs to do. We've discussed what RRQ Hoshi needs to continue doing. At the end of the day, the only question is if Area 77 is going to change it. It's all of the balls on their court at this point.
It really is, but I think, tinfoil hats back on, boys and girls, because I think that RRQ, if we're going to, conspiracy theory, they like to play a little bit slower. But every time they have lost in the most important games, they have to deal with hedgehogs, otherwise known as. You get the idea. But generally, going fast doesn't seem to be the RRQ sort of way. So that's why I think that Area 77 at this point in time,
どのチームが優勝すると思います？
trying to throw everything at them, they got to go quick. They need something that snowballs really, really quick too.
俺のチームはやっぱりフィリピンの TLPH やんな。元エコの。それに全てかけてる。なんならお金もかけてる。負けたら結構エグいな金額負けます。ちょっと怖い。他の海外のストリーマーとかにかけてお金とかじゃないんですけど、まあお金になるんですけど、でもなんかそのメンバーシップとかそういうのでかける感じ。負けたらえぐいけど。
I think that's it. I like it. I was setting you up as like, okay, go ahead right away. Yeah.
We all know what we want to see from the side of Area 77. We want them to go back into their playstyle that they are not only comfortable with, but something that they can really show the world what they are all about. We need to see NA's playstyle right now as we see them actually on the blue side up against RQ on the red.
Okay, they banned the Kimmy. So does that mean...
I feel like they might be trying to consider
So they don't want
Kaleo.
Baksha. They don't want Baksha first pick is basically what it means, right?
Yeah.
But RQ still decided to ban out the Baksha.
Yeah, I definitely think that Kimmy was one of the few picks that would have made a lot of sense for Area 77 because it's just one of those heroes, like, how do you contest with that type of damage that early on?
And they banned the Uranus, so the I
think
it just might end up being Kaleo first pick. If it's not the Jawhead, I mean, if they want to play around pick-off, map resistance going around fast, Kaleo is a good substitute for that.
I really am not a fan of giving Dire and Phobius. Dude, that guy is a monster. Like in Indonesia, we call him the half purple man.
The half purple man.
Yeah. Manusia setengah ungu.
It sounds better in Bahasa.
It sounds way better in Bahasa Indonesia.
Okay.
It sounds kind of weird here in English.
Half purple man. Half purple man. I think that, especially if we're talking about Dyren, another thing that they need to be worried about is like the Indonesian style of Hilda. We've seen so many EXP laners. You give them that Hilda, you're on an assassin. It's like it feels like you can't breathe half the time.
ファーサーバーンされるね。やっぱりね、ランクで使われてる、なんかこれ、バーンされてるキャラって、やっぱり、ランクでも使えるね。
He's a typical bully in a high school like TV show, you know, just like, hey, give me your lunch money, aka your purple buff, nerd.
Lock him in a locker, your purple buff. Just
That's literally what happened in game one. They were locked in their base, locked in their lockers, and they try to get out, but then the bully's just stronger.
They ran away in their convertibles, they laugh at you, they make you cry, you go home, you tell your parents. I'm not talking about personal experience here. I was talking about drafts.
Yeah, totally. Oddly specific with the convertible. Do you still remember their number plates? Look, Jushin gets picked up
100%,
here.
bro. Tinfoil hats.
Tinfoil hats.
100% win rate. Jushin.
100%. Look, hey, it could be a conspiracy, but I think at this point, the Zushin kind of makes sense. Right? If you're not going to get the Kimmy, the other lane bully that we are expecting is that Zushin. And now they need a mid-duo that actually looks to play in their favor. Now, Zushin is interesting because it's not only about mid-prio, it's if they get pushed in, we tax your HP whenever you walk up, especially if the opposing duo has a melee range style hero that uses Concussive Blast.
Oh, Arik, you getting the Harith right away. It's been months since Harith has been a top 2 priority on the red side. And even high loss to go to boot. Yeah, this is a little bit more of a Ego aggro RRQ first 2 pick rush.
Yeah, they're one away from going Triple H here. Harith, Hylos,
and Esmeralda. Oh,
hey, look, it's not the game. It's not the game just yet, boys. Just give it some time because the Lancelot is going to get locked in on top of the Kalea. All right, a decent amount of burst damage, but not enough to really convince me about this potential pick-off composition just yet.
Harith, Hylos, Hodged.
Really forcing it in here. Oh, RRQ at this point against the Lancelot. Oh, they go for it. There's a 10. 0% versus the 100% that juice in. Now, this feels a bit more like RRQ saying, let's change those numbers.
Yeah, right? A little bit more shoulder checks coming in from RRQ right now. It's like, come on, boy. Come on.
For sure.
ちょっとよくわからんわ、このピックが。キャラが強いのはわかるけど。どういうあれ？
Oh, you tsunami slam. Guess what? I press one button and then we'll see whether or not we actually have to commit to the fight or whether or not we can just be like, oh, this one button is enough to get us out of here.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Beatrix, good ban.
Yeah, with Kalea. Could be it. Usually what RRQ does, I mean, I'll explain the Hylos a bit more for them. They go Harith, right? Harith usually gets countered by like the Phobius.
彼らのウルトで、ビアのウルトで終わりだから。
Hylos is usually already a win against the Phobius, so the Hylos is a way to deny the Phobius. That's what they like to do, and it's also really good flex. So it's like a KSQ template to deal with something like a Phobius if they don't ban it.
Very traditional. Very traditional. Honestly, I would have liked to see KSQ kind of go out of the
これとかメリッサとか出したらめっちゃ面白そうなんだけどね。
Well, I mean, considering the
これがメリッサ出したら面白いんだよな。
This is sort of out of the
あんまり多分
but it's still within his
無理だと思う
personal
けど。
template. So I guess we can only get like
メリッサは結構ハリスにいい感じだからね。でも、
considering that they are
まあ、グレンジャーとかでしょ。
It looks like RQ has already told Area 77, okay, we're literally telling you, Harith is our main dude. It's up to you to try and answer it, guys. We're giving you a little bit of give here.
This still could be a Phobius for RQ, dude. Like the Hylos many times again goes to Rome when Phobius is up for grabs, and it's a Lancelot that just was. Oh, RQ, they can set up for the Phobius now. They don't really need to flex.
なんだろう、これがロームか EXP か
They really don't. And they can pick it up for themselves, worst comes to worst, right? As much as
they're going for Arlet, no? That's like last pick Arlet, no?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking of. They're like, okay, you can go either way. Guess which one it's going to be. Let's see, because they're giving the onus to Area 77 and picking the Akai on R4 is just so safe.
あれだね。
Like now for RQ,
赤い
they're
が
waiting for A77. If they don't go
め
Phobius,
っ
that's
ちゃ
an easy Arlet XP. If they do go Phobius,
使われるね、
Hylos
こ
will
れ
be
から。
placed into the XP to beat the Phobius, and they'll just pick another Rome.
Yeah, at this point,
まあ
though, if Area 77
アーリーが強いからね。
There's an Akai on the other side.
Exactly,
You're just like, what am I gonna do now?
So
Like,
it's Hylos and Akai.
In chess terms, this is what we call a fork. It's really, honestly, it's pretty difficult to deal with. Oh, they go for the CC instead. All right. Either in both of those matchups doesn't really matter to the CC, but it does compromise their overall 5v5.
You know what? Another one. Another new way.
Wait, no.
2 debuts in
どう
2
なっ
games.
とんのこれ。
Now Paquito.
That's kind of hot.
Yeah,
I like that.
I think this is RQ really just going with a little bit more. The template's there, but the ego's there too. I like it a little bit more. Showing Area 77. Now we got you. This is checkmate.
What is this, blue lock or something? Yeah, I can see Dyron's ego juice just oozing out of him.
I'm just a fan, dude. Like, I've been talking about how Dyron needs the carries in MPLID, and now that he's getting it, I'm just here for the show because back when he was in Rebellion, this was his prio pick. This was him, his favorite,
correct.
with Benedetta.
Yeah, with Benedetta, of
Let's
course.
see if Dyron can pop off with the Paquito in the EXP lane, and if RQ Hoshi will close out this
よくわかり
series
ません。
with a 2-0 victory, or will Area 77 surprise us all?
Thanks, Renmar. All right, we're getting right into this straight away. Match point currently for RRQ Hoshi. MSC 2025
Heroes
can't be
と
just this,
赤いで
especially with North American representative
十分
on
って
the
思ったん
blue
かな。
side, looking to pull this back against the Kingdom. Now, let's jump right into it, right? Because I think we need to figure out ways and maybe potential holes in RRQ's defenses, or maybe Area 77 to kind of push back, because again, they go for that initial leash, which is, again, we don't see very often, but so far, Dyron is very comfortable to take on Ureshi in this 1v1.
Yeah, it's because of the wave clear. You can't, like, if you angle your skill 2 properly, you get the damage and the clear. So there you have it. Bargain Hunter here with the Inspire. I think the emblems are pretty normal, so I'll try to answer your question. What are the weaknesses? I think for A77, they have an easy way to pick one or two members off right off the team fight. Like, I mean, Edok is very vulnerable. Tyron and Rins also no Purify.
Yeah,
It's yo.
both don't have Purify here. Although the mid duo is actually kind of struggling here because, as you can see, Joybot, he needs to be able to kind of walk up and punch something to get the initial heals, right? But so far, it's clear that Edok and as well as Rins are timing their abilities to make sure that he's not getting the maximum amount of heal while still making sure that Hunter has to walk up in a very awkward manner. Focus on clearing those waves, focus on getting an early recall, or at least force away Joybosh in a more compromising position. Interesting. Both sides positioning himself for the very first objective.
Okay, he's playing around it now.
Yeah,
they're
really
trying to put or set Dyron for success here in game number 2. They want Dyron to snowball because once you do get a heavy spin, say on anyone, it's an easy one shot for Dyron.
We'll see whether Dyron actually goes for the full damage, right? It would be fun if he did, but hold on.
Knockout strike not landing. Goes back to the safety of Setsujin, who's walking on the turtle.
Really taking their time here, but here comes, as the glorious pathway comes through.
Okay, that's an attempt now. Shiro, locked down, knockout strike into Retribution. Setsujin picks up first blood.
オブジェクトが強いんだね。
They even called Toy just in case. Like usually they leave Toy on an island. They're like, no, Toy. Just in case. This is Dyron we're talking about. He hasn't touched this Paquito in quite some time. So let's get the insurance policy over.
And also, folks, we gotta remind you, this is a 0% win rate hero. Zetian up against a 100% win rate hero at MSC. Jusin. This could turn everything around.
ダメージの交換で結構
They're
強い
looking to
ね。
fix the numbers at the very least. Kescute was not happy with it. It's like, hey, I love the Zetian. We gotta make sure these numbers are good. Rins, my boy, do God's work for us. We're gonna get this back. We're gonna pull it back for her. So far as we can see, like Area 77, I'm trying to think of a potential play that they could do, but the main issue is that Sutsujin is just such a good way to kind of nullify the effect, right? Oh, you're about to get a pick on somebody, heavy spin comes into play, disengages the entire team. Dyron's in trouble.
The damage, now he's going to be caught though. Curtain Call and the Lantern Flare with the Crimson Beacon too. He has to flicker, but he will die. A bit too aggressive, did not know where the Jusin was. At least Rins gets a bit of punish there.
I guess.
At this
point, Sutsujin is thinking, all right, thank God we got Toy involved in last turn. I was like, thank God he got an assist. Dyron, how could you? It's like, oh, sorry guys, I'll try one more time. Don't worry. If I die again, then you can lose faith in me, but until then, I will pull this back for us. Because it looks like you're trying to set something up, right? Idaki was thinking about it. He was thinking about dropping that glorious pathway, but there is no reason to fight as of right now. Most objectives are still up. The clear has been very good for Sutsujin. He does spot out Shiro and he does have a full level ahead. So if he steals this away or at least forces the retribution out of Shiro, then same thing as last time. It's just a free turtle.
Yep. A battle. Who wins it? Was that Sutsujin? Shiro?
I think that was Sutsujin on that one.
Okay, there you go. And now turtle number 2 spawns in the game.
Whoa.
Another 1-1 at turtle 2. I don't even know if Area 77 should contest this.
Is this contestable? Joybotch does have his ult. Who does he want to pick up? Can he pick up Rins? I think he can, but the flicker is available, but the 2 tanks, that's the problem. It's that heavy spin that they can't seem to bait out naturally.
Glorious pathway into the back. Now, oh my lord, Reshi almost pinned down to the wall. There's Joybotch is forced to flicker out defensively. Gets a tsunami slam over to Edok, but he's good.
Oh,
Dyron knockout strike into the back. Now retry battle. Sutsujin winning it out. Dyron walking back, and RQ again. Get the objective and dip.
Wait, what? There was definitely a punish there for Area 77. They did not want to initiate the trade, and I think they would have been able to trade up on towards, no, it would have been 1-for-1. It was hard to get on top of Rins, I guess. But even so, they don't mind 1-to-1 low kill count so far. RQ developed their 1.3k lead, and now it's just squeezing out the value.
It's back-to-back games with the same playstyle for RQ. A77 again, Joybotch. Without the flicker, you're passive on the Kalea. You have to understand now, after the changes on Kalea in the previous patch, that range on skill 2 is so short. You need flicker to be able to get like a crazy pick off, especially on a mobile pick like Dyron. Unless Dyron walks up, then I guess that's free knockout strike over to Rins right there too. With the turret up top for free. Toy gets a trade, and it's just a punish off of Area 77's rotation and commitment down below.
It's the skin diff. Terry Bogard on Dyron, King of Fighters, love it. That's why. You gotta make sure you got your skin game good. You get those extra stats and you're like, man, I'm a beast. I'm so good at video game. So far, I think it's been working out well for RRQ. Right? Like, conceal. They know the purple buff is available, but did they know that Area 77 all rotated down to that bot side? What a read!
Yeah, wow. Incredible read, and they just have to give it. Akai being a level ahead of a Lancelot is something, again, that we just don't see too often. But it's happening here, Sutsujin. A whole level ahead of a Lancelot that should, by all means, be farming way faster.
They're just mirroring the jungle path at this point, and I think it makes a lot of sense for Sutsujin. Whoa, Edox kind of taking a lot of damage here, but here comes Toy and Sutsujin.
They're going to go for the trade. Oh, Hunter has Flicker and Crimson Beacon, but how many times can you blink out? Toy walks up, Zaman Force over, Unli dashes, and it's Rinz who picks up the kill. Joy Bodge walking up, unable to get into range. You see that range? Pretty short.
Very short. I'm surprised Hunter didn't use the Lantern Flare straight away or like flicker out of it straight away, knowing there's a potential. Because again, Toy doesn't have flicker of his own. He's running Purified. So if he's on top of you with the Zaman Force, there's no escaping it at that point. So they have to make these calls a little bit earlier.
Dive on ISO, has the flicker, will use it. Edoc tanking it up just enough for Toy to get those shots in.
I'm not
gonna lie. With the Harith, especially with the MR shred coming out from Zetian, it makes Harith feel like he's his old self. You know, he's doing some like actual relevant damage now, especially since it's so early on into the game.
I'd love to see the take. Oh, Shiro gets the orange buff. The take on items for Toy, because we saw Innocent go for the book Enchanted Talisman yesterday. I wonder if Toy's doing the same here, or if he's sticking to the same old Starlium Scythe.
We'll see. We'll see.
Oh yes, there you go.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Making sure that he completes it. He's already got two items already complete. Fury the Phoenix comes on out. Oh, okay, good flicker from Mareshi.
バンで使えるからあれなんだよね。ランスをバンしないっていう感じなんだよね。
But it's only onto the high lows. That means Toy's free to go for damage, and he does. Bodge versus high lows. That was a sustained battle at that point. Kalea, definitely not as tanky as the horse.
Oh god, this is getting
厳しいな。3000のゴールドの差なんだけど、なんかね、もう当たるときはだいたいミース差で勝つっていう感じで、しかもヒロスも硬いし、パンダも硬い。で、新しいキャラ、新キャラの明示はなんか届かない。
Oh man, yet another game where a 3,000 gold lead looks more like a 6-7k gold lead. Like
これ、ね、ちょっと今4003の試合なんだけど、なんかもう1万ぐらいの差が中に見える。もう意味わからん。3000差しかないのに。
Bang! Bada Bing Rin showing that the Zetian can work.
God, they're playing this well.
What's
great about them is their formations during their fights, right? The anchor being Rin's this time round. They're playing around him extremely well. They are forcefully giving him space. And honestly, Rin's to a certain degree probably doesn't even want the space. Like, no, guys, please get them closer to us. I need to apply a lot more damage here.
Oh man, that's gonna be a free lord over to RQ. Rin's takes it. So 2 games, he's actually gotten 2 lords. Shout out to Rinz. Maybe that could be a fun stat later on, like how many lords the mid laners have gotten. Because Rinz is definitely leading that charge.
He is the Lord Slayer as of right now. Dude, RQ is just sucking the soul out of me right now. Oh, God. They're taking their sweet time doing everything that they want to do, and it's just so successful,
so
right?
Clean.
It's so clean. Man, we're seeing the same Lancelot build coming out from Shiro this time round. War Axe into the Brute Force Breastplate. It looks like he wants to go for the Bruiser optimization, knowing that these fights might take a little bit longer, especially with the multitudes of tanks on the side of RRQ.
Do they get the Holy Shield out of this one?
I think they do.
No, okay, they hold it, A77, but they will get it off of the next wave for sure.
Yeah.
And they're even building this wave to like double hit just so that they can get the Holy Shield and then get another wave to get it down. There you go, that's the first charge over. There's gonna be another one in the middle. Well, that's already cleared out. Conceal. Oh, that's it. That's a turret. Yeah, great weight manipulation. RQ just playing like the standard fundamental game. Joybot just cannot reach them.
Yeah, this is the RQ. Oh my god. So close, but at least they're able to disengage with the help of the Death Sonata. RQ
これでパキータが下のミニをやりに行くんだ。
from NA with the international quote-unquote playstyle of like any little lead is a death sentence.
Tsunami slam over to Edok again. The Glorious Pathway locks him down. Sutsujin with the heavy spin. It forces out all the resources over. Hunter, no! He's all alone. Has Crimson Beacon gets stunned up now as Rin's constantly pushing up damage. Edok runs away. With the knockout strike, Toy with an execute in the back with that Zaman Force. That's another base turret. 3 members up against 4.
RQ are playing this perfectly. So good. And Ishiro, he's trying his best here. Oh, Dyron, he's getting some good damage. Is this enough?
There you go, and the knockout strikes. Zaman Force.
ピカピカすぎて全然わからん。
And one last hit is all they need. Rins burns him down with what I believe is the glowing wand. Cannon minion ready. Ureshi.
No.
Not over.
Toy does not
すごいね、
he just got it back up. Did he have
レーン管理がすごすぎる。
He also had no mana earlier, so now RQ, they're just gonna take their time with this. This is the exact same position. Oh no.
He's just standing there, dude. Edok doing more damage. Dyron with a knockout strike. ISO there. Dyron will fall. At least there's a punish. But my lord, was that just soul crushing?
The RQ playstyle. They know what they're doing here. They know what they're doing. They're an absolute brick wall. That's why they're considered a pillar in these international tournaments. They are. If you can't beat RRQ, man, it's going to be really, really tough if you want to get into the upper echelons of the internationals. But hey, keep in mind, Area 77, they're very new to this. Every single one of them. This is their first time at an international. So this could be a learning experience of their own. How macro leads to these devastating feeling fights.
Depending on how they adjust for the next match. That's so fast of execution. Shiro gets to steal, but will fall to the heavy spin. I think it's a worth it trade at this point. They need to get anything they can. But can they defend now is the big question.
Oh, it looks like it's going to spawn in a couple of seconds. I think the RQ, they're going to back things off, right? Without their whole team together. More importantly, the Rins had to go for the initial recall because he got chunked out pretty hard by Shiro's side. As you can tell, I mean, Sutsujin probably not going to show much on his face, but oh.
Another knock with Lancer Flare. Should be
come
free
on,
kill.
name
Eat up. No, okay.
Sky Piercer. Thank God.
There you go. A77. Another
もしかして試合がここからってこと？
fresh air for them as they can prolong the game at least to a point where hopefully ISO and Shiro does enough damage.
I can just imagine Keskute in the background. He's putting on the rings. That heavy left hand is coming real soon.
Oh, the RQ boys might be shaking off that thought, man.
Is that eyeshadow? Is that a bruise? Let's find out after the news. Look, as we see the items, they're building up. And you can see that even Sutsujin is getting a little greedy with it. He's like, Anti-Curaz, are we going to get any MR? No. I'm going to immediately go for the Guardian Helm. I'm going to sustain forever, boys. Look at the damage rankings, right? Toy and Rins are doing phenomenally. ISO is catching up with Hunter, but Shiro making that initial steal definitely covers him this game.
Yeah, and that's the reason you see Hunter at number 3, guys. There's just no match defense. Like, RQ have so many ways to deal with the Granger, the CC, and even the Lancelot. But not much itemization for the Juicin. That's why the Juicin has been doing more than the others. And that's a concern, because Juicin's not really a damage hero, it's a utility.
It really is. And again, Hunter doesn't have a Sky Piercer as well. They want all those Sky Piercer stacks to fall into the hands of ISO ideally.
Over to Edok, but the stun, 4-man Rins for the damage now as Toy pops in. The Chrono Dash has Zaman Force, will be able to pop it in now as Shiro walks away. Bodge will fall. No flicker already used earlier. ISO. No flicker too. RQ might just be looking for the end here.
Why are we always picking off Edok every single time? They can't seem to find a window to kind of break through this defense. And now inhibitors are going to fall. Sutsujin tries to make a play of his own.
Another flicker. Diamond with 1v1 over. Knockout strike. Doesn't get the last shot. Toy with the Zaman Force now on ISO. Jumping again. Base wide open. A few waves coming out as well. This will be it. RRQ takes a clean sweep against Area 77.
Crushing defeat here as RRQ.
8分のロードかな ?8 分のロードがなんでこんな遅いの エグかった。これどこだったかな？
They're playing around him extremely well. They are
これのロード？
closer.
Maybe that could be large.
これのロードで、これすごい、これ面白い。なんかみんなは別のレーンから行って、でまとまらない感じなんだよね。別々で、ロードが来てるのに別々なんだよね。普段だったらロードが来たら、こっちちょっと文字例が見えないんですけど、ロードが来たらみんなまとまってロードを放置して別のレーンをしていくっていう感じなんだけど、なんかやってることがすごいね。
They're taking their sweet time to, man, we're for the bruiser optimization, knowing that these fights might take a little bit longer, especially with the multitudes of tanks on the side of RRQ.
Man. Did they get the holy shield out of this one?
I think they do.
で、ここのなんかその12分ってあるじゃん。12分前にこの黄色いやつがあるから、これが出てきてちょうどロードが入ってくるときに、これがない状態で下のミニオンの2個目がこっちが終わるようにやってるんだよね。
No, okay, they hold it A77, but they will get it off of the next wave for sure.
Yeah.
Damn, they're even building this wave to like double.
だからなんかもうすごいやってることがすごい。ロードがこっちにいるのに、もう次のウェーブもこっちにある。で、こっち、ミドはここ。で、上はこっちに。だからロードの後ろにミニオンがついてくるっていうのを作ってんだよね。
Hit just so that they can get the holy shield and then get another wave to get it down. There you go. That's the first charge over. There's gonna be another one in the middle. Well, that's already cleared out. Conceal. Oh, that's it. That's a turret. Yeah.
これでタワー取れるんだ。このレーンの管理が素晴らしい。お見事でうまかった。ロードの後ろにミニオンがつくっていうのが。すごい。でこれも同じことをやってるんだよな。やろうとしてる。だからここでパキートがもうフル無視する。普通だったらね、パキートが火力だから火力にやってもいいんだけど、それもやることが決まってるから、もうパキートはもうミニオンの方に行くんだよね。で、こっちは4人で当たって、ランスは下で見えるから4人なわけだから当たってもいいかなという感じで。だからここ無視する。で、4対4で当たっていいよみたいな感じだったから。ちょっとレベルはすごい。これ。すごい。かわいい。よし。このすごい試合で。ジム行ってきます。ジム行ってきます。皆さん、見てくれてありがとうございます。ちょっと自分がジム行ってきます。また明日やりますので、よろしくお願いいたします。ではでは。おやすみなさい。